Jamelle Wells with ABC News. New South Wales Police have rejected claims they failed to hand over evidence that could convict Mario Santoro of murdering Sydney mining executive Celia Haddad. Mark Reddy reports.
During a pre-trial hearing in Rio de Janeiro yesterday, Brazilian homicide detectives accused New South Wales Police of hindering the prosecution case against Mario Santoro. The 40-year-old is charged with murdering his ex-girlfriend Celia Haddad, whose body was found in a Sydney river in April. But Australian authorities say they haven't had any request to hand over the evidence and would be powerless to do so while diplomatic negotiations continue. Ms Haddad's mother is expected to give evidence next month.
A number of insurance companies could face criminal charges after the Banking Royal Commission revealed a slew of misconduct. Stephanie Chalmers reports.
The Commissioner's Council said he was open to make multiple findings of misconduct based on the evidence of the past fortnight. The inquiry heard life insurer Clearview may have breached criminal provisions banning unsolicited sales calls more than 300,000 times, while Freedom Insurance may have engaged in unconscionable conduct by selling insurance to a young man with Down syndrome. AMP was also under fire for charging insurance premiums to dead customers, potentially breaching the Corporations Act.
State opposition leader Luke Foley says a public feud between two cabinet ministers demonstrates a failure of leadership by the Premier. Multiculturalism Minister Ray Williams has threatened to move a spill motion for the position of the Deputy Liberal leader amid a pre-selection battle. Mr Williams has been resisting pressure to retire as member for Castle Hill to make way for the Deputy Leader and Treasurer Dominic Perrottet. Mr Perrottet has announced he will nominate against Mr Williams for the seat at the 2019 election. The state's Education Minister says the federal government's decision to boost funding for Catholic and independent schools is not fair. Nor Hayder reports.
Education Minister Rob Stokes says the state and federal government were close to reaching a new funding agreement based on the Gonski principles. He says he had no advanced warning the Commonwealth had reached a special deal with the private sector.
You can't solve a funding war by just buying off one of the sides. You need to make sure that that funding is provided equitably.
Director of the Gonski Institute, Adrian Piccoli, has called the deal pathetic and unchristian.
It's moved away from funding children based on their individual needs to now funding choice.
The former Coalition MP says the changes reward powerful lobby groups.
Businessman Marcelo Casello, whose family manages Yellowtail Wines, has been granted bail while he appeals against a jail sentence for not telling police about a friend's 3,000 plant cannabis crop near Griffith. The 58-year-old told police he wasn't involved in the drug enterprise when he was charged 4 years ago, but later pleaded guilty. A train driver has extinguished a fire in a tunnel near Edgecliff Station in Sydney's east. The fire close to the platform was put out around 4 p.m, but partially closed the Illawarra line for an hour. Fire and Rescue New South Wales Inspector Craig Wright says 2 trains were evacuated as smoke found its way into the station.
It was only a small fire, but the smoke has nowhere to go except to the railway platform. There's approximately 50 people on the platform and they had to be evacuated as well.
16 people have escaped serious injury after a bus crash at Stratfield in Sydney's inner west. The minibus and another car collided on Centenary Drive. The bus passengers have been taken to hospital as a precaution. Cronulla will be without captain Paul Gallen for tonight's NRL preliminary final against the Storm in Melbourne. He was ruled out due to a shoulder injury last night, and Joseph Paulo will now start at lock. Veteran Luke Lewis will be the Sharks' acting skipper. And a crowd of around 95,000 is expected at the MCG for tonight's AFL preliminary final between Richmond and Collingwood. Both clubs have named unchanged teams. Now, looking at the weather for the capital cities tomorrow, Brisbane partly cloudy with a top of 24, Sydney partly cloudy, a top of 23 degrees, Canberra partly cloudy and a top of 22, Melbourne mostly fine and a top of 20, Hobart showers tomorrow with a top of 17 degrees, Adelaide fine and sunny with a top of 21, Perth sunny with a top of 24, Darwin sunny and a top of 35. I'm Jamelle Wells, ABC News.
ABC Radio is your home of news and current affairs throughout the day, every day. Start your morning with AM at 8 o'clock, Monday to Friday with Sabra Lane, and on Saturdays with Elizabeth Jackson. At midday, Eleanor Hall brings you The World Today. And at 6:30 each weekday evening, join me, Linda Mottram, for PM. A half an hour of the national news and analysis that you need to know. That's 6:30 Monday to Friday. ABC Radio, your home for news and current affairs throughout the day.
I don't want to alarm you, but there's a tidal wave coming.
There's a wicket.
A tsunami of cricket.
Women's T20 and One-Day Internationals. The WBBL. Men's T20, One-Day Internationals and Test Series. Australia vs India and Australia vs Sri Lanka.
Hi, I'm Elisa Healy.
Hi, I'm Mitch Stark. For all the summer's Test matches, T20s and One-Day Internationals, listen to
ABC Grandstand's Summer of Cricket.
Starts September 29.
Stand by. Cue audio.
Grandstand, AFL.
You're with Grandstand. The players are ready. Here we go. Grandstand AFL. Grandstand AFL. This is the 2018 AFL Final Series.
They are the greatest games to win and the hardest games to win.
It's September and they're ready to embark on the most wonderful time of the year.
This is the purest weekend of footy.
Belcher Rose on the 50, goal unguarded. Oh, brilliant!
He has one bounce. Rioli's got him! What a contest within a contest, and it is game over.
Mark Lacroix from 45 out. What about the roar?
The champion of the bid, you just want to put yourself on show and pit yourself against the best, because that's what we're here for.
This is tough, desperate footy now. Both sides know that the game is up for grabs now.
Plays on, moved down from behind. Now that is a goal saver. That contest for the 10 or 12 seats is as good as you'll ever see. Collingwood is going to play Richmond for a spot in a grand final.
This is kind of what you play the game for, and exciting games like this where you get a massive crowd.
The MCG won't be big enough. The city won't be big enough.
It's going to be pretty tribal on Friday night at the best ground in Australia.
It's going to be massive.
Grandstand AFL.
Thomas gets it, shoots the goal. Oh, Collingwood out of a block.
Lambert with a hand pass to Martin.
Oh, don't tell me.
Boundary. This would be miraculous.
It's simply an individual piece of brilliance.
The piece of September magic.
Terrific to watch.
Hand pass intercepted. This is Jetta. He snaps. He goes. Oh, he loved it.
The intensity is going to be through the roof.
Big crowds for September footy. I think with this group anything's possible.
Here's Rioli, who dribbles through the goal. Daniel Rioli writing his own history on the MCG.
Goes from 45, covers Fargo from the boundary. An incredible finish. The roar says everything.
That's an absolute awesome shot.
Turns to the crowd, puffs out his chest and says we're headed to a prelim.
The 2018 AFL Final Series.
AFL.
You picture it every night, picture it every training session that you do. When you get there, that doesn't satisfy you. You want to win it.
On ABC Radio, ABC News Radio, and Grandstand Digital.
We are poised for a sporting experience like few others. A sellout crowd, two power clubs, a spot in a grand final at stake. For anyone walking into the MCG tonight, the sense of occasion is overwhelming. A combination of anticipation, nerves, excitement, uncertainty. Emotions are running high. Richmond hasn't faced Collingwood in a final since the 1980 VFL decider, and tonight only one can advance to the biggest game of the season. Hello and welcome to the MCG. What a place to be. It is an evening befitting the occasion. Absolutely stunning. Alistair Nicholson to call the action for you tonight. The significant news for Richmond is that Dustin Martin and David Asprey are both taking their places in the Richmond sides. No changes to the selected teams. Clint Wheeldon is calling the action alongside me. Good evening to you, Clint.
Al, fantastic to be here. A good old suburban stoush, these two enormous football clubs. The crowds outside just to get in were incredible to see. It's a perfect setting. It should be a terrific game of football. You mentioned the history, 1980, the last time they played in a final. Collingwood haven't beaten Richmond in a final since 1937. Remarkable the sort of history these two clubs have. It's going to be a beauty.
We've got some terrific experts for you on Grandstand AFL tonight. Hello to Brad Sewell.
G'day, Al. And prelims are just something special, aren't they? In the air, and what more to accentuate that is Collingwood-Richmond. It's just remarkable. The AFL couldn't have hoped for anything more at the beginning of the year, and to see this game here tonight within this environment, the prelim environment itself is the best game of the year for mine. They're notoriously tight. I hope we get that tonight, and it's going to be a beauty.
Alongside Brad Sewell, Mark McClure. G'day, Sellers.
Hello, boys. How are you? It's the place is filling up. A lot of yellow and black, and there's a lot of black and white, and that's not going to happen next weekend because the theatre goers come along and the corporates take over, and it's actually not quite the same, even though they get a bigger crowd sometimes. But I'm not so certain they'll beat 100,000 tonight. This is going to be huge. The train was full. The silver limo I came in, it was full of people from all colours, and a few from the Storm too, who were going to the Storm game across the road. So it was very interesting in there. It was I suppose it was great. Really, it was fun. It was interesting. Lots of good people. I hope for a great game. And I'm pretty certain we'll get one.
Yeah, it's a great time of the year. We've got the Storm playing Cronulla over the road where they're expecting 25,000 people. A prelim there as well. The record to beat for a Friday night clash in the AFL, 98,002. That was in the 2007 prelim between Geelong and Collingwood. So we wait to see whether that mark can be eclipsed tonight. We can head inside the Richmond camp now. Tigers assistant Blake Carousel has been good enough to join us as I welcome in for the first time tonight on the boundary. Tim Hodges. G'day, Hodgie.
Hi, Al. Nice to be with you and the guys. Just a privilege to be down here on the boundary. The MCC, spoke to them before, they're expecting 97,000 for tonight. The most beautiful Melbourne Friday, and it's the most perfect conditions for a game of football. Blake Carousel has been good enough to join us. It is a stage that is just spectacular, isn't it, looking out here?
Yeah, what a night. Big game, big final, big clubs. We've had a bit of experience in the finals last year and this year, and we always play in front of big crowds too, so it won't be quite like last year in the prelim against the Giants where we had 90,000 Richmond supporters, but I think we might have the majority.
I'll let the boys upstairs talk to you about the game. Can I talk to you about David Ashbury, the big talk around Melbourne all day long? He spent time in hospital last night dealing with an illness. He's been in quarantine away from the club, but he is playing. He just walked past us before to take part in the warm-up. How is he going?
I've stayed away too, actually. No, I think he was in hospital, but only as a precaution to make sure he was fully hydrated for the game. And if it wasn't the game today, he wouldn't have been in hospital. So he's not too bad, and he's out there training, so he's right to go.
And so much talk has been on Dusty's knee and Corky this week. He just ran past us as well. No strapping on the knee. How is he doing?
Yeah, he looked to be running pretty well just then. Most players coming into the end of the season have sore spots here and there, and Dustin's no doubt one of those players. But unfortunately, there's only one game in Melbourne this week, and we need to write some stories.
It's great to have Blake so close to the opening siren. He's watching the Tigers go about their warm-up. I'll send you upstairs to Brad Sewell and Mark McClure.
Blake, it's Sully, mate. Word out of the camp is everybody's very, very relaxed down there. Can you be too relaxed before a prelim?
I think you can. I think every individual's got their right spot for motivation. The players were joking around, but you've seen that all year as well. Yeah. And we've proven there's been some games where the players have been really revved up before the game this year and played well, and vice versa too. The casual approach has worked. So hopefully, we start well and kick the first goal.
Which aspect of tonight's game do you think presents the biggest challenge for the Tigers?
I think Collingwood's main weapons, their midfield and the way they move across the ground and get over to each contest and shape that contest up. They've got a good balance around that contest. Players go in, players wait on the outside to receive the ball or make some tackles. So we really need to match them there because that kick starts their offence, but also that helps their defence.
Blake, is this like driving a Ferrari?
I've never driven a Ferrari. I can't
well, you're driving a pretty good car out here today.
Yeah, it's funny how the world can change in a short period of time. Last year was an amazing story, and we probably didn't have the respect from the football world until we won the grand final. I think everyone expected us to fall over during the year and then during the finals, and probably after the grand final. Even this year, I reckon there's still some doubters on how lucky we were last year. But to see the players, win every game in Melbourne this year and come out each week and play their best footy against a pretty good opposition. And at the same tonight, Collingwood are a fantastic team, and they're taking parts of our game from last year and try to improve as most clubs do. So it's a real challenge tonight, and looking forward to it.
They've got some guns that you need to pull up as well.
For them, they've got some fantastic players through the midfield, forward, down back, some marking players down back as well. So we need to make sure we can negate their influence, but we firstly focus on how we play and making sure that we stick to that and it's got good results in the last 2 years.
So you're confident, Blake, in your method tonight? You don't think there's a particular style that you need to play to beat Collingwood tonight?
I think we play our way. There's always slight adjustments. We might use the ball a little bit more some weeks or take the contest at different times, depending on how teams set up, how high in defence they are, or do they sit back. We've got extra numbers around the ball. We need to use that, but we're expecting Collingwood to play fairly high in defence like they have for most of the year. So you could see a really contested game tonight.
We saw Jordan De Goey's match-winning quality last week against the Giants. Does Dylan Grimes go to him?
It probably depends where he plays. Everyone knows that Rance plays the deepest most of the time for us, and De Goey plays the deepest forward. So if that's the case, Rancey or Dylan Grimes might get him, but we'll stick to our system firstly, and hopefully that stands up.
All the best tonight. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Blake Carosella down boundary side with Tim Hodges as the crowd files into the MCG. You can just get a feel for how big this is going to be tonight. The atmosphere is immense already. There must be 45 to 50,000 in, and we're 44 or 45 minutes away from the bounce of the ball on Grandstand AFL. Just repeating, there are no late changes, so Dustin Martin is playing for Richmond, and David Asprey, who's been unwell, will take his place in the side. Concerns for Dusty and whether he can run to his maximum potential tonight, Sellers and Sully?
I wonder if it's actually not more of a concern for Collingwood, because if he's hampered, it means he plays more forward, and it almost plays into force Richmond's hand potentially, and he's so dangerous forward. And if Greenwood was to get him through the middle part of the ground, then hand him over because Dusty got a hold of him forward of the ball whence they last played.
He's certainly got to go to Maynard.
He has to be Maynard, doesn't it?
He's the only one who's got the power and the speed to stick with him. But seriously, injuries, I couldn't give a hoot about them. If you walk over the line, it's all over. That's what you play for. And I hear that someone had a broken rib last week. Bad luck. Don't play if you're not right, and don't make excuses about it, which really annoys me. So if Dusty plays poorly, well, so what? Collingwood may win, and that's a good thing for the side. And they bring a bloke out of hospital to play again today, so they got they themselves a little bit behind the ball a bit here,
soft on the belly.
Yeah, a bit soft there. They're not soft, but they put the hand up to play. You play properly, or you get the consequences.
Well, one of the great things about Richmond has been the settled nature of the side so often, and particularly that back three of Asprey, Rance and Grimes, who know each other's game so well. And when he talks about system, it's the way they work together, which has been of such benefit to the Tigers.
And they won't change. They'll hold their own position, and the Collingwood forwards will effectively rotate and roll through them. Mason Cox is really important tonight. What he provides, as Sellers chuckles, what he provides to Collingwood, what he has to do is more important than almost anything else. He has to stop Richmond defenders from marking the ball in their defensive 50.
No, he has to bring it to ground. That's his job.
Yeah.
He has to contest everyone that comes in. But I like the way he moves forward towards the centre of the ground. He uses the ground really well, and he's got some pace, and he's hard to get over the top of. So they would use him well. But a couple of weeks ago over in Perth, he was average. Last week I thought he was pretty good. He was okay. He'll be much better after a good game tonight, because Rance doesn't like the ball coming forward. He likes you to kick it lob on top of his head, and he won't be doing that, Mason Cox. He'll be running.
We're getting ready for the preliminary final. Richmond taking on Collingwood at what is going to be a packed MCG. We've heard the Richmond side of things through the eyes of Blake Carosella. In a moment on Grandstand AFL, we'll be joined in the commentary box by injured Magpies defender Lyndon Dunn.
Grandstand AFL.
Grandstand AFL. The 2018 AFL Final Series.
On ABC Radio,
ABC News Radio,
and Grandstand Digital.
It's a magnificent scene at the MCG. The crowd is building ahead of the preliminary final between Richmond and Collingwood, and it's a great pleasure to have the company of the Collingwood defender Lyndon Dunn with us on Grandstand AFL in the commentary box. G'day, Lyndon.
Hi, boys. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. How are you getting on in your recovery from the knee operation?
Yeah, really well. Had my first running session on Wednesday, and I think I must be 12 and a half weeks now post-surgery, so I'd love to be out there tonight, but it's not to be, and I know walking across the road from the Holden Centre tonight with the boys, they're pumped up and ready to go.
We usually start with serious questions, but let's get into the silly early. That costume you wore when you made your return last week at Olympic Park was quite something. Can you talk us through it?
I was just trying to get the boys up and about. That was my first sort of little trot that I had, and thought I'd shack Mick Degina, who takes the warm-up for training usually, and just take the reins and get the boys up and about. And, you know, the club was great and Bucks was great about it. Not sure whether I'll be pulling that kid on again anytime soon, but it is what it is, and it's sort of, the boys played well on the weekend, so I don't know if I can take the credit for that through my warm-up or not, but, yeah.
It's pretty special. Blonde wig, pink tracksuits, and you look to be moving okay. How did you feel out there?
Yeah, I felt great. And my jog, again, covered about 2.5K on Wednesday. Knee felt great. Bit strange to be back running again. But, yeah, it's all going well. So Goldie sort of set the benchmark for me with his knee, and we've seen how he's flying at the moment. So all going well. I should be back for the first trial game in round 1.
And you look good in it today too, the pink and the blue. Great.
I've got a good head for radio, they tell me. So.
Well, you'll join in with us. Good. I want to ask you about the difference in the game. You were there last year to what's happened this year. Tell me where it started and how it started, what you've done.
Yeah, well, you know, publicly a lot was spoken about the review that we had, and Bucks obviously had a lot of pressure on him last year, and not only on Bucks himself, but the footy club and players and board, and, you know, there's a lot of pressure being at Collingwood. That was probably the thing that I found coming across from Melbourne first thing. And then, you know, we had the review, and Bucks has taken a step back, which he was probably reluctant to at the start. And he's really opened. The meetings are punchy, they're short and sharp. Everything's based around having a good time, having a laugh. When we work, but it doesn't, and you've seen it, there's a lot of teams that are sort of shifting the mindset game day now. You see, you know, teams are having a laugh at, you see Jack Higgins from the Tigers take the team huddle after half time, and I reckon the Hawks were having a bit of a laugh maybe last week before the bounce as well. So, you know, it's the way to go now. Footy's changed a lot, you know, since I got drafted, and I think it's for the better.
So there's some team rules, but you're allowed to do you're allowed to play whatever you've got in your side. You to actually get out there instead of having a structured type thing that you have to kick here, do this, do that.
No, we definitely have structures, but we want blokes' strengths to shine on the field and training, and you know, and that's what's happening. We don't speak about our offense at all during the week, and that might sound surprising to a few people because we do move the ball quite well and we're quite aggressive with the ball, but that's just natural talent you see with blokes like Jaden Stevenson and Will Hoskin-Elliott, you know, Adam Treloar, Braden Maynard and Jack Crisp. This is just the way they play their footy. We consider ourselves to be a contest defence team first, and then when we win it back, we just flow and sort of see what happens, really. That's as best as I can put it.
You've been around footy for a long time now. That initial transition at the start of the year when Bucks had to step back and you've sort of changed the inner workings and inner dynamic, did he struggle with that initially? Because he's a pretty straight up and down Bucks. He's a hard, hard footy head.
He is, yeah.
And he's almost getting outside of his comfort zone, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well, he was well and truly out of his comfort zone, but, you know, to Nathan's credit, he's probably the one person at the footy club that's grown the most this year, and that's, you know, it's exciting to see. I'm proud of the coach that he is. I'm proud of the man that he is, and the way that he took that feedback on board. It takes a good character to accept that feedback and do something about it. You know, the reason we had the review was to have criticism and compliments, and, you know, what was working well, what wasn't. Bucks was doing things well, was doing other things not so well. Players were doing things well, not doing things so well. So I think, and that's what's happened this year. We've just gelled. There's a good feeling. It feels like a local footy club. We feel like we're at a country footy club with
800,000 members.
With 800,000 members, and we're the biggest club in the land. But that's the best way that I can describe it, is that it just feels like a country footy club.
Within the playing list, who's the player that you've seen the most growth from whilst embracing this kind of new feel?
It's hard to pinpoint one player in particular, but I think when you get 10 or 20% out of each player, that's where the game day, when you see that, you know, I think we had 15 wins this year at the end of the home and away season, and I'm not sure how many we had at the end of last year, but it wasn't that many. And when everyone sort of comes out of themselves a little bit, lets their strengths shine, dips into the care factor department of teammates and staff, you know, that's probably where it happens. But, you know, I've really enjoyed watching Brody Grundy's development this year on the field and off the field. He's just a superhuman being, and he's playing some really good footy. He's probably one that springs to mind.
In one sentence, what was he doing wrong, in a sense? Not wrong as a people, but in a sense that actually improved. Too many meetings, too long, too much of him.
Is this Nathan?
Yeah. Who else is there?
Well,
He's the one.
I was just talking about Brody Grundy, so I wasn't
I know
sure.
that, but I'm talking about, I was talking about Nathan.
No.
Hey, don't let it out of Australia, okay?
No, look, Bucks, he's set in his ways a little bit, and that was probably, and a lot of coaches and a lot of men in general are. It's hard to, let down your guard a little bit, but the empathy that Bucks has now, and, his meetings are shorter, they're punchier. They're more direct. There's more contact time probably with the line coaches and with the leadership group and players taking ownership of the footy club and the team. And, a lot of the time in meetings, players are speaking and Buck sort of sits up the front a little bit gobsmacked and opening his mouth trying to get in, but he just can't because the boys are taking control, and that's what we love, and that's the environment we're trying to create. And if I was a first-year player like Jaden Stevenson walking into our footy club this year, I'd be licking my lips because it's a bloody great place to be.
Player-driven club.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Collingwood defender Lyndon Dunn is with us on Grandstand AFL alongside me, Alistair Nicholson, Mark McClure, Brad Sewell, and also Clint Wheeldon.
Curious whether or not long-term you've still got coaching aspirations, a bit of involvement with the AFLW side. Is that somewhere you're looking in the future?
Oh, definitely. I'll coach at some level, whether that's at local footy or in the AFL system, I'm not sure. But I've got I wish I could play footy forever. You can't. I'm about to hopefully sign a new deal next week just for a year. So, and I'm happy to have 1 year deals for the rest of my playing days. If I'm playing good footy, I'll go again. If I'm not, I've been very lucky and privileged to have the career that I have. But I'll definitely coach at some level, whether that's in women's footy, which I'm really loving at the moment, in our women's space, and really exciting having our girls, and that works really well with my pre-season. Sort of frees me up during the year that we have AFLW through the summer, and then I can focus on my family a little bit more and just trying to get a kick and rehab my knee at the moment. I definitely have a passion for coaching and think that I see the game well, and that's why it's been great. Bucks and the other line coaches working with Justin Longmuir in the box. It's been good for me.
I've also read long-term you were once interested in maybe going across and being in the NFL as a kicker, and with the success we've seen of late with Michael Dixon and the Seattle Seahawks, is that something perhaps you would have any interest in maybe pursuing?
Yeah, it's certainly something that, jumps at the imagination a little bit. As I get older and older, and I always said that I'd never cut my AFL career short to pursue that, but, it'd be a long shot. I'm not as passionate about NFL as I am about AFL. It's fair to say I do love the game. I enjoy watching it, and Cameron Johnston's over there at the moment as well, who's a rookie at Melbourne with me, and he's at the at Philly, and he's been going really well. So, post footy, who knows?
Have you done any of the testing? Do you know in terms of things like hang time and all the sort of stuff they get interested in? Do you know what you can do?
I know a little bit of the jargon, but all I know is that I like kicking spirals at training. So, I try and get in the goal square after training most days, and try and see if I can hit a few in the middle. And like I said, it's probably a long shot, using my imagination a little bit too much, but you never know.
We need to let you get back to the rooms, Lyndon. Just very quickly before we let you go, though, you say you hope to sign a new contract next week. So have you agreed to terms on a new deal? It's just a matter of signing the paperwork now?
Pretty much, yeah. That's just, to my knowledge, yeah, that's where it's at the moment. So, I'm very excited and can't wait to watch the boys fire up tonight, get the job done, and hopefully send ourselves into a grand final next week, and then hopefully we're going back to back next year, and I'll be playing out of the goal square.
You finally get that first final.
Perfect, yeah. It's not a great stat to have, and everyone keeps reminding me of that. But I do plan to play in at least one final before I hang the boots up.
Great to have your company on Grandstand AFL tonight. Thanks very much.
Thanks, boys.
Great to hear that he's going to be re-signing with the club next week. Lyndon Dunn, you heard it here on Grandstand AFL tonight in the lead-up to the preliminary final between Richmond and Collingwood. He's played 196 senior games, Lyndon Dunn, and I think that's sixth most for a player who's never played in a final. You go back to, a long way back to 230 games. Trevor Barker played for St Kilda without ever playing in a final, Sellers.
I thought he was terrific.
Yeah, he was
gave
great.
us a lot of information. He didn't bruise the football club in any way. He enhanced it, I thought, in the way he spoke. The greatest thing that happened to that football club was Nathan Buckley. His chum.
Yeah, no one has grown more at the football club than Nathan Buckley. You'd think it'd be a young player or something, but it's actually the coach, and that the whole idea that is a country football club, essentially, Collingwood.
And the players run the show. How good's that? That's the way it should be. That's what good clubs do.
The teams will be out on the MCG very shortly. Richmond and Collingwood. The scene is set.
Whatever your thing is, we're in sync with you. Customise your news stories to read about what matters to you.
I don't know, I'm really into sport. I find that really interesting.
Good content, good journalism.
Oh, international news.
I think entertainment and arts.
I don't know, like inspiring stories.
Do your thing differently and we'll be in sync with you. The new ABC app, free to download today.
Grandstand, AFL.
You're with Grandstand.
There's always going to be nerves and there's always going to be tension because we're at the business end of the season.
This is the 2018 AFL Final Series.
For us, it's about enjoying the moment.
Grandstand AFL.
Making the most of your chance on the big stage.
AFL.
Richmond versus Collingwood. Everyone's waiting for them to fall over. They're not going to fall over. They've got to be beaten. We believe they can be beaten. We believe our best footy will stack up.
Live from the MCG.
On ABC Radio.
ABC News Radio.
And Grandstand Digital.
Excitement and anticipation levels reach new heights in a gripping final series tonight. Richmond faces Collingwood in a final for the first time in almost 4 decades. And there is a massive crowd building at the MCG. They're expecting around 97,000 for this preliminary final. The Tigers and Magpies, Richmond having won 22 in a row at the MCG. Could Collingwood end the streak tonight and make it into a grand final? It's all before us on Grandstand AFL. I'm Alistair Nicholson calling the action tonight alongside Clint Wheeldon. Your experts on Grandstand AFL are Brad Sewell and Mark McClure. The two teams very shortly will be running out onto the ground and we'll hear the roar from this magnificent stadium where, well, it's a little different to last year because when the Giants ran out on preliminary final day at the MCG, only a few thousand of their fans in. Well, the Collingwood Army is out and out in a big way as their team prepares to break the banner and get set for the prelim against the old foe. 1980, the VFL Grand Final, the last time these two teams participated in a final against one another. Two famous clubs with enormous supporter bases and business to attend to tonight. Jack Crisp, the first to go through the banner. The teams are as named during the week. The good news for Richmond is that Dustin Martin has been past fit to play, along with David Asprey, who had some time in hospital last night. Blake Caracella told us earlier it was a precaution. He's been suffering from a virus and he'll be taking his place in the Richmond backline. Before the Tigers run out, a few thoughts on the Magpies, Sully and Sellers.
Well, the Magpies have been fantastic, surely. They've been terrific. They've had 15 injuries or so. They've knocked a few out of the way, but their kids have come through. And when you have a look at Stevenson and Thomas, who've done really well, and Varco's been a real special player for them. Maynard's growing as a player. They have, Chris Mayne's actually come back.
Yes.
Been strong this year. So they've had some difference, and it's made them a better side.
It has, but the top class, the top level class this side's got through the midfield. Grundy, Adams, Sidebottom in particular.
Incredible.
He's finally getting the rewards and the external plaudits that he deserves. Pendlebury, of course, we know what he brings to the table. Treloar, it's his third game back after the hammies, so he'll be again building on the strong form line that he's got. Grundy, Nankervis tonight is going to be huge.
Absolutely, but you've got to have a look at their forward line. DeGoey, Miacek, and then you've got Hoskin Elliott, who I think's been fantastic. Hoskin Elliott, he's a really different player. He's tall, he's slim, he runs well, covers ground, makes great movement. And then you've got Mason Cox, who is different, tall, runs straight, hard to handle if he goes forward, and if he stands still, easy to handle. But if he moves, he's hard to work on. So they've got some difference in their forward line as well.
Yeah, they really do, that versatility. And there's been so much talk about DeGoey and his X factor, what he does up forward. It's not going to be a 1v1 game there. Richmond as a unit defends so incredibly well. Their defence throughout the midfield is going to be so important. The space that DeGoey might have had last week, he won't be afforded that this week against the Richmond unit. They need to separate the Tigers' defence so they can try and get them one-on-one.
They sure do. Their defence has held up pretty well with Langdon back there, Chris, Maynard, Howe's been terrific. And Goldsack come back with a vengeance from a knee operations, which has been superb.
Have a listen to this crowd.
Unbelievable.
At one end of the ground, you've got the Collingwood chant. At the other end of the ground, you've got the Richmond chant to counter it. And we await the Tigers. Trent Cotchin's just making his way out of the rooms. And the jungle drums are beating here. If this is a portent of the atmosphere that we're going to get tonight, this is going to be one hell of an experience at the MCG. You can already see that the back tiers of the southern stand right up towards the top are filling to near capacity. And the Tigers are making their way out up the race. Listen to the Collingwood fans. They are booing. This is what Richmond did to Geelong in the qualifying final last year. Oh, there's going to be something in this tonight. The Tigers at the top of the banner. It's been an impeccable flag defence so far. Jack Riewoldt the first through, and the Tigers are out on the ground in the preliminary final. Richmond and Collingwood getting ready to go. Can the Tigers take the next step in their title defence and make it to the big dance again? There's a real energy out there on the ground at the moment as they charge down towards their fans at the Punt Road end. Brad Sewell and Mark McClure will be your experts tonight on Grandstand AFL alongside Clint Wheeldon, myself, Alistair Nicholson, Tim Hodges down on the boundary for you as well. We'll have the anthem for you shortly. Before that, let's really nut down into the game preview and what we can expect to see tonight with Brad Sewell and Mark McClure.
Well, Brad, we know what the Tigers can do. They performed for a whole year last year and most of this year, and we didn't actually get warm on them until about the fourth or fifth game before the finals last year, and all of a sudden they stormed through. They've continued on. They never lose a game at this ground. They play a style of football, and it's been fantastic. Go forward.
Tigers, their foundation of work, what they bring tonight, their consistency across the board, that's what finals is about. Their consistency and their ability to do the little things well, consistently, effort after effort after. Their reliance on each other, their readability, they just know what their teammate is going through.
They're the ultimate team when you think about it, and what they do is they trust each other. They have a trust in each other, and what they do is Jack Riewoldt starts it from the forward part, right? He stands there. He makes it a contest all the time so it comes to ground so the smalls can do it. Down back, when it goes into Asprey and it goes to Rance and it goes to Vlastoon, they cover for him, they block, they push, they shove.
They play in unison.
That's what I mean.
They move together. The flow that they play with is something to behold.
And their role is then all of a sudden Hurley runs out there and or Short runs the ball out, and that's how they work, and they just continually do that over and over again, and everyone knows how they do it, but no one can bust it surely.
Can they break even in the midfield? Because it feels like that their forward line and defensively they're probably edging ahead of Collingwood.
Well, their clearances are poor when we talk about it, but that's only sometimes when Gregg's in the ruck. I mean, when Nankervis goes off the ground, there's a huge advantage for the Collingwood side in that area, and they can put the ball and place it where they want to because Gregg's there, but you know what? It hasn't affected their win-loss ratio.
Which matchup out there tonight is going to be the barometer of this game, fellas?
De Goey, and Grimes. That's me.
So if De Goey doesn't fire, Collingwood...
Well, I think if De Goey is kept to 2 goals or less, they cannot win. In 20 years, I just went through the books the other day in grand finals. There's only 3 players have ever kicked 5 goals or more in grand finals since the turn of the century, and that's Lloyd, Mooney, and Roughhead. That's the only one. So tall forwards don't actually work in these games too much because the pressure's on. There's heat. There's Pete around the ball. Yep. It's a one-on-one contest most times. It's hard work for tall blokes, but the smalls do work.
So it's De Goey for Collingwood. Who is it for Richmond?
Well, they've got so many hits at the forward line. I mean, you've got Rioli, you've got Castagna, and you've got Caddy who score heavily, and Jack as well. So they have so many, and their midfield power. Cotchin, I've watched Cotchin for a long time. I've never seen him play better. This is the best I've ever seen him. He actually attacks and he crushes contest, and they push the ball on at all costs. They just continue to bash it forward. I like it. It's exciting. And you can understand why the Tigers fans are out here in force because they love watching it as well.
This is the greatest example of this tribalism that I think we've seen here at the MCG. These 2 powerful clubs and the energy that generated the Collingwood chant and the Richmond chant, the drums beating.
The Tigers are number 1 for scoring against, okay? They're for the opposition scores. They keep them down the lowest. And they're also number 2 for scoring. So they're number 2 in stopping the opposition and number 1 in scoring. So they're pretty good in this area.
They've been the best. They've been the best side, the best team in the competition.
For a long, long time, for 12 months or 18 months, I would think, at this stage. I can't see why they can change, but things happen in games. Sometimes you have an off day. Sometimes the forwards don't work. Sometimes someone gets hold of the Richmond defence, as Adelaide did in the first game this year, or the first couple of games this year. They spread their defence. They chipped the ball around. They made them separate, and they won that game over in Adelaide quite comfortably.
Is Dusty? How important is Dusty to Richmond? If he doesn't fire tonight?
Well, I don't. If he doesn't fire, that's his fault. If he's injured, he shouldn't play. He is important to him because he can score and he's solid through the midfield and he's powerful kick. And you know what? One thing I've never seen him do, he never falls over.
No, strong
He's
feet.
incredible on his feet, and that is great balance and incredible player he is.
His mere presence in the forward line too is enough to make defenders very nervous, isn't it?
He draws free kicks, he draws 2-on-1s, he frees up his teammates just through that presence, Al. You're exactly right. And the way he brings his teammates, one of the most admirable, I can't speak, so one of the most admirable facets of Dusty is he makes his teammates better. Last week, the pot shot from the boundary line that he took, we very, very rarely see that from him. Well, he brings his teammates into the game when they're in a better position than what he is.
It was pretty bloody good.
We never see it, though, do we?
It was very good. No, and we like to see that every now and then.
Yeah, of course.
Someone of class who can do that, and there's not many around who can.
Dimmer would probably want to see him do that more often. He wants that star power to be a little bit more selfish, but
no.
The team football they're playing, they're selfless.
They share and care. That's what they do, and they continue to actually work with each other and share the ball with each other. And when there's a problem, I see Dusty Shepherd. I see Cochin Shepherd for players. I don't see some other of the great players do that because they think they're too important. They want to get on the end of everything. It's not about that at Tigerland. It's about being the best side, not the best player. And I think that shows. And the number 1 seed is miles in front at this stage at that stuff. But they can be beaten.
It's a prelim. Anything happens, and they are notoriously tight.
They usually are. And I'm looking forward to a great game of footy and move on to the grand final day. I don't know who it'll be, but gee whiz. They're going to get 100,000 here today. The top rafters are jam-packed, even in the members, right through to the back, everywhere. If they get 100,000, that is huge.
So it hinges on the members, exactly the crowd we get tonight, because the members of Richmond and Collingwood, they've got their seats, they've paid, bought tickets, they've queued. The tickets for the members were sold out in 2 hours at the start of the week, and then I think the tickets they put on sale for AFL members went in half an hour, but it's that walk-up, and Melbourne has the largest proportion of MCC members, and Collingwood and Richmond are a step or two back in terms of volume, so it is really a question of just how many of those members turn up tonight.
They were queued up the hill, up towards the railway station, when I arrived about 3 hours before right now. That's how many were already here. I'll be surprised if it's not packed to capacity. I'll be stacked.
I agree.
This means so much.
And if it doesn't happen tonight, it will never happen.
Exactly. It's that imagery, isn't it, of people camped out at ticket booths in the city from basically Monday onwards in the hope of getting a ticket, or even after Collingwood had made it through. I think they were there on Sunday morning. There were people queued out from Wednesday at the front of the members here at the MCG.
What do you do for 4 days? What do you actually do for 3 days?
You'd want to enjoy solitaire or something. What would you do?
Where do you go to the
bathroom? Guide under your arm, wouldn't you?
Oh, I don't think so. I wouldn't have that much money. I wouldn't last that long 3 days.
Sells, I reckon attest to that. Sells, I reckon right now you could do a nudie run down Swan Street and there'd be no one there. There are so many people here, and what is the flow out of here after the game is going to be unbelievable.
You wouldn't want to see it. Anyway, but it's interesting, and we've got 100,000 here, but don't forget we've got 2 or 3 million watching on TV around the world and in Australia. So it's a massive event.
Interesting parallel between the two clubs. Richmond, a couple of seasons ago, had the big decision to make about Damien Hardwick, stuck with him after they finished 13th, went on and won a premiership. And of course last year so much pressure put on Nathan Buckley, and we heard of course from Lyndon Dunn beforehand, and again finished 13th. Their fans will be hoping that is a nice omen to come in 2018. But two sides who decided that they had the right man in charge. They just needed to do a bit of tinkering and fix a few problems up, and here they are facing each other in a preliminary final.
It's interesting just watching Bucks walk around out there now. He's just strolling around like it's a Sunday afternoon in in the park somewhere in the gardens, just so relaxed.
So the backing relieves pressure, and then the coaches, feeling the confidence that they've got some certainty around their future, they pull back and release the pressure as well. And football sellers, and you're a big rap on this, becomes fun for players.
Well, you've got to have some enjoyment, or else you wouldn't want to go to work. I mean, if you've got a job and you don't like it, go somewhere else. And that's what I reckon, and that's what happens to some clubs. They just push them out of the way. But gee whiz, these clubs have grown in the last couple of years, and seriously, it gives you light for other clubs. You can actually grow really quickly.
They've faced off twice this season. Richmond winners on both occasions. Collingwood in the game till three-quarter time in round 6, beaten by 43. In round 19, they were beaten as well. The Magpies, on that occasion, they went down by 28. Let's take you down to the members' side of the ground on the wing. The players are lined up, and we'll join the pre-match formalities with Nat Edwards. I think everyone's ready. Nat's clearly not taking our cue. She's waiting not for the radio cue, but for the TV cue. The crowd here is just unbelievable. Everyone now on their feet, and it just creates this sense.
They're trying to make money at the wrong time.
They haven't gone into an ad, have they, sellers?
I'm not
do
sure
that on the ABC.
The Australian Football League and Premier Partner Toyota welcome you to the first preliminary final. The AFL acknowledges the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional owners of the land we gather on today, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. We acknowledge we play our great game on this land and respect the cultures of all First Peoples, their contribution to our nation and contribution to the game of Australian rules football. Would you now please join with the coaches, players and umpires as we stand for the Australian National Anthem.
Spine-tingling stuff. Decibel meters are going to be broken tonight. There's no doubt about it. Enormous atmosphere at the MCG. Richmond preparing to take on Collingwood. A spot in a grand final at stake. And then it will be over to West Coast and Melbourne in Perth tomorrow to decide the other grand finalist for season 2018. Fans making plenty of noise down at the Punt Road end, the Tiger Army. They've had another September to remember. Will it continue? And the Magpie Army, how they've waited for moments like this. Mark McClure, Brad Sewell, who wins the contest tonight?
Tigers by 6 goals for mine. Collingwood can't go with them. They're not hard enough. They're not as mature. They don't have the depth to do what Richmond can do for 4 quarters.
I think they're the number 1 seed and they'll win. But they're going to have a challenge from Collingwood. They haven't come here for practice. They've come here to try and win a game and get into the grand final. And I'm sure that they'll put up a good fight.
Tim Hodges, you come to an awful lot of football at the MCG. You're out in the crowd at the moment. Can you recall an atmosphere like this?
It's just amazing, Al. Just watching the toss of the coin now, you'll hear a roar because it's Richmond won the toss. I didn't even see which way his pointing there. Sorry, guys. It is just the most amazing atmosphere, and it's the most perfect night. Conditions are just superb. The crowd is mega. The MCC confident will hit 97,000 tonight, and the crowd is here remarkably early. A real sense that this is an event as much as a football game. No late changes. Dusty is playing. He looks okay. The real concern in the last 24 hours has been around key defender David Asprey. He was told to steer clear of the club since yesterday. He spent time in hospital last night with a virus. He is playing, but we've been told he's some way off 100%. So that is a concern for the Tigers heading into this. It is the most amazing stage. We hope the game lives up to the hype. This should be something, guys.
Final instructions for the Collingwood players. A rev up from Scott Pendlebury. The Magpies looking to make their first grand final since 2011. And for Richmond, they were there last year. Both these clubs know what it is to play in front of a big crowd in a blockbuster, but the term marquee match, blockbuster, almost doesn't do tonight justice. It's just so big. The atmosphere, the tribalism, the rivalry, the grand final. Who's going to be playing in it? Richmond and Collingwood get their crack tonight. It's the prelim, live on Grandstand AFL to call the opening bounce. Here's Clint Wheeldon.
A rollicking ride awaits. Glad you could be with us on Grandstand AFL. Grundy faces Nankervis. We're underway in the preliminary final. Nankervis got the fingertips to it. Can't get it away cleanly. Kick up into the air from Greenwood for Collingwood inside the forward 50. Mark taken right at the top by Stevenson. And the rising star is up and about. He'll send it into the right forward pocket. A fly unable to take the mark there. Hoskin Elliott. Numbers with the Magpies, and Grimes gets a kick away towards left half back. It's set up for Edwards. The hand pass over the shoulder. Wonderful. Found Rioli. Shares it with Cochin. Back to Rioli. Long inside forward 50. Juggle. Not taken by Revolt. What a start by the Tigers. They're inside forward 50. And Jack's got the chance to go back and have the first shot at goal.
Rance played deep on Degoe. Martin did the very first centre bounce, and as soon as the ball left his area, he went straight forward. Indication of what we'll see tonight. Fantastic transition, quick ball movement. Salisu called it a really slick, quick handball over the top into space by the Tigers.
The Coleman medalist looking for the first goal of the game. Kicks on its way. He misses narrowly to the left. The minor score. Richmond one behind. Collingwood yet to score. Opening 80 seconds here in the first preliminary final at the MCG.
Jeremy Howe kicks into the right back pocket for Collingwood. Langdon's taken the mark. He comes back towards the goal mouth and Maynard.
This is what the Tigers make you do. Chip pass around.
Around the boundary. Phillips and McIntosh. McIntosh, the spoil, sees it out of play at right half forward for the Tigers. They go to the city end in the opening term, so Trent Cotchin winning the toss and electing to kick down to that end of the ground, and they'll be coming home to the punt road end where their fans are everywhere really tonight.
They are. What a scene below us as Grundy wins the tap down for Collingwood. Main was out after it, trying to gather it. Edwards couldn't. Came to Pendlebury, getting a clearing kick away. The Magpies head it towards centre wing. DeGoey taps it down. Stevenson might have been worked out of it from Rance. On the deck, Grimes almost turned it over. Cox looking to work it forward. DeGoey gathers on the deck, tried to hand pass it backwards. The Tigers can mop up. Quick kick towards centre wing. Commentary side. It's allowed to bounce. Swept inboard. Grundy now on to Phillips. He has it on centre wing. Commentary side. Inside 450 DeGoey. Maybe worked under the football. It sat back there. Chance for Asprey. Got it originally from Grimes, and Asprey will kick towards commentary wing again. Big fly. Maynard got hands to the football despite Rioli being in front position. There's a pack of four, and it's over for a boundary throw-in. The Tigers lead by a point. Collingwood yet to score. 2:47 gone opening turn.
Thrown back in front of the Richmond bench. Nankervis and Grundy wrestle. Umpire spots a free kick. A Richmond free kick. And Toby Nankervis will have it. Centre of the members wing, a hand pass to Short round the back. And he kicks up towards the half-forward flank. Caddy is one-on-one with Greenwood, out-pointed him, took a one-handed mark. That's a big win early on for Levi Greenwood. He's got it on defensive 50 at left half-back.
So Greenwood again comes towards the wing. Cox's front position.
Oh, Mark,
got a hand to it. Came down to Nankervis. He was strong to short for the Tigers. Puts them towards right half forward. Uncontested mark to Langdon. But heard footsteps. Number 8 for the Magpies stood his ground. He found Goldsack, who sends it from defensive 50 out to Hoskin Elliott, who marks it right half back for Collingwood.
Options on the southern side. He uses it well. Howe's drifted up, takes the mark. Centre of the southern wing, kicks to Mycheck at half forward. The kick's over his head to go. He comes out, collects his hand pass, slapped down by Grimes. He sees it out of play, Dylan Grimes, right half forward. Collingwood 60 metres from their goal. It's on the southern side of the MCG, which is completely packed.
Magnificent crowd in. Grundy front position, won it down, but it's straight to Cochin to the Tigers. He worked it away to Prestia. Kicks Richmond towards the southern wing. It bounces in the way of Caddy. Chris met him. Langdon's able to gather for Collingwood. Bounces a kick towards Treloar. Then to Main to side bottom. Hand pass meant back for the Treloar. Oh, met solidly. The other way was Cochin. Prestia tries to pick it up. Holding the ball.
What? I don't think that was right.
Not sure it was either. It is coming back to Pendlebury, though. Having another look here. Big solid contact between Treloar and Cochin. And Pendlebury had a bit of him, and maybe the incorrect disposal call was just there. The Tigers still by a point, nearly 5 gone, opening quarter.
Scott Pendlebury playing at his 20th final. He goes in the Mason Cox direction. He can't impose. It's brought to ground level. It's near the 50 for Collingwood. Greenwood knocks it on. Can Stevenson run onto it? He couldn't pick up. It's cleared away by Flostone to the middle. Up at the back, Goldsack with the spoil. Picked up by Pendlebury, centre of the ground. His hand pass slapped down by Higgins. Hand pass away to Edwards. Through the corridor come the Tigers. Well-weighted kick inside the 50. Just too far out in front of Caddy and Howe. Peeled off and collected. He gave to Phillips, who kicks the Pies to the wing. Hoskin Elliott marks all on his own.
Has space in front of him. Elects to kick towards the left forward pocket. Going back, there was Grimes. Got a touch on the footy.
Jesus, Blake's a good player down back, Grimes. The little things that he touches, a ball he knocks over the boundary before. He is a great defender. Negative things are great.
It's these shallow inside 50s that are hurting Collingwood at the moment. They're allowing Richmond to rebound. Collingwood need to carry the ball further, get a deeper inside 50 entry.
Ball thrown in left forward pocket for Collingwood. The Magpies will clear it, or rather Richmond will clear it away through Graham in the middle of the ground. Crispers up, was tackled by Rioli. Ball squirted out the back. Trying to work it out was Higgins, couldn't do so. Edwards continues to press. He's able to work it forward. He's right there along with Lambert. He gets taken to ground. Ball spills out. Still the pressure applied by Richmond. Edwards wonderful. On him turn to Grigg. Now to Rioli. Snapped at goal. He misses to the left-hand side. They just a persistent plus. But they've only got 2 behinds to show for it. They lead by 2. Collingwood get the score. 6.5 gone opening term.
Oh, Howe's kick in, hit the deck. Needed to be cleaned up by Crispy. Kicks towards the members' wing, and Grundy is out. Pointed by Nankervis, who marks. He kicks to the corridor. Cochin's got it. Goes down on one knee to take it. Edge of the centre square between wing and half forward for Richmond. Cochin thrusts it deep. Up inside the 50, Rewald flies, can't mark. Edwards tries to get it, can't. Howe had it, lost it. It's in dispute. Langdon's got it, tackled, brought to ground by Rewald. 25 from the Richmond goal at the City end. How's the tempo?
Well, the Tigers' entries are all straight up the middle. They just continually push in, and they shove you, they push you, and the Pies 2 around the boundary for me.
Grundy got it down. Phillips' kick was into traffic, ricocheted away, taken by Graham. Will snap towards goal, sliding back Maynard. Marks defensively.
No, he went through.
In fact, he's gone back through. And so that is going to be a behind.
No, he went through the goalpost.
On the slide?
Oh, no, okay. Didn't. He must have fumbled it.
So he's obviously fumbled it across the line in the marking attempt. Actually, no, he's marked it through the big sticks and then played on between the goal and the behind.
Good point, yeah.
So Maynard from the kick-in finds Mason Cox at left half-back. Richmond 3 behinds. Collingwood yet to score. Almost 8 minutes played of the prelim. Cox's kick goes to the wing. Half-volley pick-up, not taken by Flostone, but it is picked up by Farko. Short pass of beauty to Thomas. 65 out, kicks to the pocket to Goey. Hard on the angle, left foot pocket, 35 metres from goal.
Every entry's been on the boundary, surely.
Yeah, it has. That's the deepest entry they've had. For the most part, the entries as...
Opens up the angle, bends it home! What a start from the match winner of last week, Jordan Ngoe. He brings his form into the preliminary final. This guy could be anything. and he's showing us plenty of what's on offer in this final series. Collingwood gets the opening goal. 1 straight. Richmond 3 behinds. We've been playing 8 minutes. Mark McClure and Brad Sewell.
And Sales, you made the point that Collingwood have used the boundary line. They've certainly done that. That was their one wood. Mason Cox hitting up the ground, a quick transition. Varco through the middle, just so clean, picking the ball up off the deck. That means when De Goey's got room, he can lead forward and he can go back. It's so dangerous. Stevenson was lurking around as well. A clever kick, and with De Goey's got time and space and separation, he's going to hurt you. Those deep inside entry 50s for Collingwood are a must.
The bounce, Nankervis won it down. Martin attempts the soccer, missed it. Treloar put his body over the football, got it back to Sire. Hurried kick goes through the legs of Pendlebury. He's able to sweep it forward. Clever from Adams, taps it forward. So too does Cox. Myercheck picks it up. Almost a goal. It flew along the ground and misses just to the right. Defensive play from the Magpies. One more to their score. They're 1-1-7, Richmond 3 behinds.
Oh, you can barely draw breath in the opening stages. Shorts kick into Rancis, kick to half back in the Grimes direction. It's off hands out of play in front of the Olympic stand. 60 from the Collingwood goal.
Momentum is so important in these games. Richmond have had the opportunity to hit the scoreboard. They missed a couple of chances they should have made more of. Collingwood, conversely, have hit the scoreboard and done well.
Magpies by 4 points. Grundy and Nankervis. Nankervis knocked it down. Adams couldn't pick up. Bashed forward by Conker. Up to the wing for Richmond. Prestia got it. He's tackled by Howe. Defensive hand pass near the boundary line. It was taken by Graham, but he goes to kick around the boundary line. He didn't keep it in the process. It will be a boundary throw-in. Centre wing members side of the MCG. Collingwood 1-1-7. Richmond 3 behinds. 10 played.
So statistically across the board, everything's pretty even, except marks inside 50, if I'm reading that correctly. 4-13 Collingwood's way.
Ball spun back into play. Grundy won it down. Ricocheted off Treloar. Grundy tried to tap it back to Main. Or met solidly by Conker coming the other way.
That can't be right.
No, it's not.
Rioli strapping on one of his wrists with run and chase written on it. As it's one down by Grundy. Side bottom. Tried to gather. Bounced top out. Back to side bottom. It's a lovely delivery. To Cox, who marks it left half forward. 3 metres in from the boundary. He looks to fall forward. Big mark. No one able to grab it. It came down again to Hawley. Shoveled out by the Tigers to centre half back. Edwards got work signed it by Sire. He's then tackled by Prestia. Ball up the court.
As soon as they get in the back line there, they just push it forward, the Tigers.
Centre half forward for Collingwood at the stoppage. Taken by Prestia, tackled by Main. Doesn't get it out. Umpire waits, watches, says mine. Thought for a moment.
If you fumble that, that is incorrect disposal. So if you hang on to it, you go to ground, you push the umpire to make a decision.
Ball up inside the centre square. Grundy palmed it down, but taken out of the pack by Caddy. Curling kick over his shoulder to half forward for Richmond. Rewalt there with Goldsack. Goldsack paddles towards the boundary line and then picks up and gets away. Defensive hand pass gives to Howe. Left foot kick around the body of Beauty. He finds side bottom defensive side of the members wing. His kick to Sire in front of the interchange.
It's perfectly weighted. Sire sees side bottom run behind him. The option's there for a hand pass. It's now used to side bottom. He'll kick towards centre half forward. It's sat up there for Adams. Now to Sire. Lost it, surely. Umpire says play on. Conker kicks around the body. Comes towards the logo. Commentary wing. Langdon wrapped up by Castagna. Umpire lets them play. Chance for Stevenson on in turn to Greenwood. Sends it inside forward 50. Myercheck up. Lost him with the spoil. Down to Hawley. Trying to get a hand pass away. Missed its target. Chance again for Adams for Collingwood. Then to Main.
Brilliant.
Varco leading up and marking. He'll go back and have a shot from about 35 metres out. It's to the left of centre.
And they should have given it to Main a couple of plays ago. He was on his own 2 or 3 times and they didn't give it to him. They didn't trust him. They had to give it to him. Then his foot was perfect.
You can see still side bottom just working through it. He didn't want to release the ball from the middle of the ground. He had to try and work it forward, take 10, 20, 30 more metres to get this ball in deeper.
Travis Varco kicks on its way. The roar tells the story. Collingwood have got their second. 2-1-13 the Magpies. Richmond 3 behinds. And we've travelled 13 minutes into the opening term on Grandstand AFL.
Well, we wanted someone to test the Tigers. We wanted someone to push them and shove them. And what they're doing is opening up their defence. They're spreading them. They're pushing it out wide and then getting some stuff through the middle. Little chip kicks. A little chip kick again. De Goey got a goal out of one. A little chip kick from Varco. From Main, which was absolutely perfect, and there was on his own with no one in sight. They've separated their defence and they're hurting them right now. Can they go further ahead? That's the key.
Well, this is quite the start from Collingwood. After Richmond had scored the opening 3 behinds of the game, the Magpies 2-1 since out of the middle. Koch and Sockers. Phillips will get there first for the Pies. He picks up on the edge of the square. A hand pass puts Langdon under the pump. He's caught from behind. Castagna got him. Ball popped out. Martin gets it through the traffic. Gives to Conker. Chip inside the 50 is marked. On the lead by Jack Rewalt. 45 out. Slight angle to the right.
He stole it. Stole it, didn't he, really? Snuck through and picked up one. He got to kick this, Jack. That's his job. That's what you're here for. That's what you get the big money for. In front of a big crowd. You've got to finish this off.
He was goalless in the qualifying final. He's kicked 12 goals in 7 finals during his career. Jack Rewalt with a look of focus in his eyes. He starts at left. It doesn't fade. It's a behind, is it, or has he scraped it home? Jack! It did have a little bit of left to right on it. He gets Richmond's first, having flirted with the left goalpost. Richmond 1-3-9, Collingwood 2-1-13. We're midway through the opening term on Grandstand AFL. Your experts are Mark McClure and Brad Sewell.
A bit of a scratchy start by Jack, and it wasn't convincing at all, but that was a really important goal for the Tigers. Collingwood are building up around the boundary line and carrying the ball forward, and it hasn't been clean, but the versatile forward liners look dangerous. These centre bounce clearances are so important because neither side. We have now got spares off the back of the square. It's the first time we've seen that tonight, but they will come straight in and equalise.
So Greg is in the ruck, and he just leaves it for Grundy, who leapt up in the air and punched it forward. Mychek slid past it. Magpies had plenty of numbers. Treloar went back to Grundy by a hand, then back to Adams. Kicks the full forward for Collingwood, sliding back to take a good defensive mark, Boston. And he has it at the top of his goal square and then goes on a bit of a run into the left back pocket.
Kicks to the southern side. Stevenson there, but the mark is taken by the intended target, McIntosh. McIntosh at left half back for Richmond. He plays on and he thumps it as long as he can down the wing. Goldsack's edged under the ball by Rewalt, who takes the mark for the Tigers. He wheels around an open forward line. Martin's got Howe for company. Martin up in front. Howe the spoil. Out towards the boundary line. Over it goes. Oh, Collingwood fans would have been nervous then seeing Dustin Martin 1 out, 30 from goal, but Jeremy Howe wins the day. A throw in 45 metres from the Richmond goal at the City end.
No doubt in my mind the Martin's not right.
No, not at all.
Forward too far, too much. Got to be in the midfield.
Throwing in again. Richmond don't go after it. Grundy punches it straight back towards the boundary line. Throwing is the call.
He didn't even jump then.
No,
you know what I mean? That's the problem.
I don't mind him deep in the forward line, but when the ball's coming in high like that, he made no attempt to actually jump and mark at the ball.
I agree.
And Howe's a great matchup on this occasion.
Grigg versus Grundy again. This time they contest. Grundy wins once more. Syatt tried to gather, couldn't quite. Picked up beautifully there by Broad. Has it for the Tigers, sends it inside forward 50. Goldsack tries to spoil, got a fist to the footy. Higgins is there, might have been taken high, shoveled it towards the boundary line. Goldsack picks it up for the Magpies. Umpire says we'll ball it up, hard up against the boundary, deep in the left forward pocket. Collingwood lead by 4 points. Pulsating start. Grundy got the tap. Down as far as Rewalt, gave it back, kicked towards full forward. There as Phillips was strong to Maynard and then to Aish, who kicks into space in the left back pocket. How does it bounce away from Chris? Under pressure from opponent in Edwards. Came down again to Phillips for Collingwood. Kicks towards Hoskins. Drops the mark on the logo. Varco racing by.
He sockers it in the Thomas direction. Tried to brush a tackle. Wide hand pass. Phillips falls over, gets up, gathers, throws it on the boot. A spiralling left foot kick. Didn't travel too far, took the hand of Broad, overrun by Rance, but Hawley's playing back up. He gets a hand pass to Broad. Broad around the body to half-back. Waiting for it, Cochin sweeps the hand pass to the boundary to Grigg. One over the top's a beauty. And away comes McIntosh. He has a bounce near the members' wing. He kicks to half-forward. Jeremy Howe sets himself at this one. Brings it to ground, couldn't mark. Adams crashes through his hand pass to Langdon, away to Sire. Away come the Pies. They're absorbing everything at the moment. Short pass, a nice one. Marked by Sidebottom. He plays on, gets round, and wrong foot's Nankervis. Left foot kick, he's dumped after he got rid of it. Varco, the target, brought to ground. At the back, Hoskin Elliott tried to get it back to Varco. His hand pass is knocked away. And picking it up is Conker out to half-back. His kick finds McIntosh. Hand pass to his own advantage round the boundary. Got away from Sidebottom, no mean feet. Now to Rance, by hand to Lambert.
Lambert slipped over as he tried to get the kick away. Crisp was able to mop up by hand on the bounce to Treloar. Collingwood went now. Opportunity to go forward. Adams inside forward 50. Thomas marks. He's been able to spot Varco right in front of the big sticks. He can go for goal from about 45 outs.
They're stretching them.
Yeah, I love what they're doing here. Steele Sidebottom is just so creative. They have to get the ball in his hands around midfield.
He elects to hand it off though. Goldsack running by, sends it long towards goal but misses to the left. A minor score to Collingwood. They move to be 2-2-14. Richmond 1-3-9. Tim Hodges is on the boundary.
Clint, the boot bag has come up from the Magpies, from the rooms. Chris Mayne has changed his boots. There is a real dew out there. You see a lot of players slipping. I think at quarter time when they have their break, a lot of players will change their boots. This dew has come in, I reckon, in the last 6 to 7 minutes.
Asprey from the back pocket to Flostone. He kicks out to left half back. Martin marks on his chest, southern side of the MCG. His kick goes towards Caddy, who's got Langdon for company. Affects the spoil. It's a ground level. Knocked off at Conker, picked up by Caddy. Gives a hand pass away to Conker. His kick smothered. Pies might win it. Lambert comes through, tries to knock it to the advantage of Richmond, but Langdon gets it again. His hand pass to Howe under the pump. He turned it over by hand. Prestia near the boundary line. Works at 15 metres around the line. An attempted socket forward off the boot of Rioli has gone out of play and will be thrown back in. 55 from the Richmond goal. Collingwood 2-2-14. Richmond 1-3-9 in the prelim, 20 minutes in.
Great pressure by the Tigers. Collingwood have been defending really well. On the most part, have been able to find an outlet in those handball chains, but on that occasion, Richmond defended and caused a turnover.
Cox wins it down for the Magpies. The Pendlebury bumps it to the southern wing. To go, he stretches with the left. Can he keep it in? Not quite. Can only take it over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Hasn't Varco looked dangerous in those loose balls, just swooping around?
Well, he moves forward towards the ball carrier. He keeps coming at you, and then it's an easy look and an easy hit.
Mason Cox against Nankervis. Shallow throw. Worked forward by Mason Cox, only as far as Wostone. He's able to get it onto Higgins for Richmond. And he kicks down the southern wing. Unable to mark was Revolt. Behind him, Stevenson picked it up. Gave it on in turn to Maynard for Collingwood, or Greenwood dropped the mark near the logo, and then he spun out of trouble with a beautiful gather. What's he do now? He'll kick inside the forward 50. Big fly, they crash the pack. Sidebottom up against McIntosh. Still going, charging through Greenwood. Got it away to Sidebottom. The hand pass to Chris. Chris from 45 out. Sends it towards goal. What a finish. It's been predominantly the Magpies. In the opening 22 minutes of the first term, they're 3-2-20, leading the minor premier 1-3-9. Well, Richmond under some pressure.
Well, they are, because they haven't got the numbers around the ball at the contest where it is, and they're getting beaten most times. They're running harder, they're working harder, they're testing the opposition, and Richmond are failing. They're failing the test. They cannot get their hands on the ball, and their skill level is high. Richmond have been bashing, crashing, trying to move it so quickly. They need to slow it down slightly. Hold the ball for a while. Take the ball off the Pies, or else they're going to get rolled heavily.
We didn't see this coming. Collingwood has made quite the statement early here, and Richmond hasn't been able to match the Pies' intensity early. Out of the middle, Cox got a hand to it. Who's going to get the clearance? Cochin tries to get things moving Richmond's way. He kicks to half forward. In front, Rioli, a juggle. 3 juggles, completes the mark. He's between wing and half forward. Southern side of the MCG. Rioli tees it up to the hot spot. Jack Rewald's there. Howe over the top with a big spoil. Launched at the footy, knocked it to ground. Taken by Sidebottom. He gives to Mayne, who does some fancy footwork near the boundary. Gets a creative hand pass to Maynard. Out come the Pies. By hand to Crisp. He kicks into the middle. Grimes punches it away from Mychek. Size waiting for it. He sweeps it out wide to Treloar. Treloar, the southern wing.
He'll get the kick away, heads inside forward 50, Grimes sliding, lovely trap.
Wow.
Wonderfully done by the Tigers defender. And he found Hooley, who sends it out to Rioli. He's got some space to work with. Elects to kick towards left half forward. Juggled out there. Chance to move it inboard again. Now it's with Lambert, got originally from Higgins.
Grimes had 2 possessions, but gee whiz, he's had an impact down back.
Inside forward 50 to kick. Goldsack strong in front. Great defensive mark for Collingwood. They're 3-2-20. Richmond are 1-3-9. 24 gone opening term on Grandstand AFL.
Alistair Nicholson, Clint Wheeldon, Mark McClure and Brad Sewell with you in the commentary box. Tim Hodges down on the boundary as the kick goes to the wing, and Mason Cox taking a strong mark. A moment of intent from Mason opposed to Toby Nankervis, no less. He kicks around the southern wing. Grundy's the target. Back with a flight. Flostone with courage. He was batted into as Varco swept and was away. It is a Richmond free kick. And it was there.
Lucky for the Tigers again. Varco ran the middle part of that ground with time and space, so clean below his knees.
Collingwood by 11 points at the 24-minute mark. Flostone kicks back towards half forward. Goldsack edged out this time by Rewalt, who takes the mark. 2 long kicks from goal. Collingwood fans wanted a free kick.
They're all slipping over.
Back towards the corridor comes Rewalt, and his short pass has found the waiting arms of Lambert.
Collingwood are so good in transition. They're the first to move and initiate, getting numbers to the drop of the ball.
Lambert puts it deep inside forward 50. Pack of 4 up. Howe with the spoil at the back. Spills the ground. Martin does the tackling. Came out towards side bottom, surely holding the ball. Or incorrect disposal. Take the pick, but no. Ball up will be the call instead. Interesting. But he was surely tackled. Just lost possession of the football. Caddy was in amongst it. He'll get it again here after the tap, and it came down to side bottom, then to Howe. Kick towards the southern wing. Grundy tapped it back. Oh, Varco. Lovely gather racing by. Hands it on. A chance to run inside forward 50. The kick comes towards Mychak. Juggled. Great mark. Thomas with the delivery was perfect to fall forward. Mychak was strong, and he can go back and have a shot from right in front and from 30 outs.
And a 2-on-1, Mychak. Really strong in his marking, and they are destroying them with their ball movement, surely.
Yeah, it is. So Cox and Grundy ran middle part, that tall marking options. They're not allowing that Richmond to set up defensively.
What a start this would be for the Magpies. Mychak looking for Collingwood's 4th in the opening term. The Army is up and about. 4-2-26 Collingwood. Richmond 1-3-9. 26 gone in the first quarter. We didn't see this coming on Grandstand AFL.
As I was saying, it was Cox and Grundy who are presenting up the ground, and when you've got Varco and Steele side bottom just lurking around the drop of the ball, they're so creative. The decision making, their foot skills are fantastic, and they're just causing so much damage. Separation in their forward line, because the forwards can go forward and back. It's so difficult for defenders to get around that.
Richmond kicked the opening 3 behinds of the game. Collingwood has kicked 4-2 to 1 goal since. In the middle, Nankervis rose early, still got the tap, but side the clearance for Collingwood. Fires it inside 50 to go. He comes hard at the ball. It gets past him to the pocket. Stevenson with pace. Rance gets back. Stevenson wanted the boundary line. Forces a stoppage. 25 metres out, a boundary throw in right forward pocket for Collingwood.
And now we're seeing Richmond defensively being reactive. They were really one-on-one. Usually you see a Richmond defender drop back and take that mark out of a centre clearance, but not on this occasion.
This is an unfamiliar feeling for Richmond fans down at the punt road end. Grundy to Hoskin Elliott to Ngowi. It gets worse. Collingwood fans are out of their seats and Richmond fans are stunned. Collingwood 5-2-32, Richmond 1-3-9. We've played 27 minutes, Jordan. Ngowi's got 2 and Collingwood's got the jump.
The question whether Ngowi could kick a big number. Well, gee whiz, he's on his way. That was from a clearance again. They get beaten in clearances. Great work by Grundy. Treloar the handball, and then Ngowi on his own. Who was it with Ngowi? Varco's been on his own. Ngowi's on his own. Stevenson's on his own. They are off at the moment, the Tigers.
Richmond are getting outworked through the middle part of the ground. maybe they were too relaxed before the start of the game.
We'll find out at the end how relaxed they are.
They might get the clearance again, and they will do so. Came to Thomas. Puts the Magpies inside forward 50. Stevenson couldn't quite mark. Spilled down again. Grimes under pressure did well to Lambert. Hands it off to Asprey. And that's an ugly kick. Is it out of bounds on the full? It is.
See, well, this is the whole thing. If you're going to play injured players, and Martin's had 4 possessions. He's usually had, plenty by now, and he's had no impact on the game. And Asprey's had no impact on the game. Both injured or both sick, one or the other.
Maynard brings the ball back into play. A thumping kick inside the 50. Cox works his way to the front. Hands to it. No mark. Rode by Grundy. Gave it away to Stevenson. To Phillips. Curling kick back towards the hot spot. Flostone fell over but leapt up and marked on his chest at fullback for Richmond.
It's a good test for the Tigers, isn't it, from now? See if they are the number 1 seed still.
Chasing a 23rd straight win. And under real pressure early, and Flostone has missed everyone.
These are uncharacteristic issues for Richmond to get overworked, outworked defensively through the middle part of the ground. These issues, these skill errors, these missed kicks. This isn't the Richmond that we're used to seeing.
Everyone reacts differently, different times of their life. Just one of them.
In the right forward pocket for Collingwood. Side bottom tries to chase it towards the boundary line. Umpire spotted a free kick. It'll go Conscien's way. He was in front position. Vostone missing short. Deep in the left back pocket a short time ago. Cochin beyond defensive 50. Sport the back came from Howe down to Main. And chance for Phillips to send it inside forward 50. Mason Cox front position couldn't mark. Rances over the top of it. Vostone got a hand pass away. Now they'll look to settle through Graham, who sends it towards left half back for Richmond.
To a big pack of players. Rewalt brings it to ground. Rode by Martin. Gave a hand pass to Rewalt. Under pressure. He got a kick over his shoulder, but Crisp intercepts on the bounce. Gives to Pendlebury. There's the siren. Every Collingwood fan inside the ground has risen to applaud the most commanding first half hour of football from the Magpies in the preliminary final against the reigning champs. Collingwood 5-2-32. Richmond 1-3-9. The Collingwood chant goes up around the MCG. Don't go too early, Pies fans. We know the Tigers finish well, but it's a pretty good start. Goal kickers for Collingwood. DeGoey 2, Varco 1, Crisp 1 and Myercheck 1. Only 1 goal in that opening term for Richmond, kicked by Jack Rewalt. So quarter time at a packed MCG. It is Collingwood leading by 23 points. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and Grandstand Digital.
Audio, video, photos and stories. There's a world of great sport content for you to explore on the ABC Grandstand website. Get the latest results and stories. Stay up to date with AFL, NRL, cricket, golf, in fact, all things sport. Simply log on to abc.net.au/grandstand. ABC Grandstand. On mobile, online and on your radio.
ABC Grandstand. For sports coverage like no other.
I don't want to alarm you, but there's a tidal wave coming.
There's a wicket. A tsunami of cricket. Women's T20 and one-day internationals. The WBBL. Men's T20, one-day internationals and Test series. Australia vs India and Australia vs Sri Lanka.
Hi, I'm Elisa Healy.
Hi, I'm Mitch Stark. For all the summer's Test matches, T20s and one-day internationals, listen to
ABC Grandstand's Summer of Cricket.
Starts September 29.
Grandstand AFL. Grandstand AFL. AFL. You're with Grandstand.
The first preliminary final.
AFL.
Live from the MCG.
A rollicking ride awaits. Grundy faces Dan Curvis. We're underway in the preliminary final.
But it is picked up by Varco. Short pass of beauty to Thomas. 65 out, kicks to the pocket to Goey. Hard on the angle, left foot pocket, 35 metres from goal. Opens up the angle, bends it home! What a start from the match winner of last week, Jordan Ngoe. This guy could be anything.
Chance again for Adams for Collingwood. Then to Main. Brilliant. Varco leading up and marking.
They're running harder, they're working harder, they're testing the opposition, and Richmond are failing. They're failing the test.
Travis Varco kicks on its way. The Raw tells the story. Collingwood have got their second.
Gives to Conker. Chip inside the 50 is marked. On the lead by Jack Rewalt, 45 outs. He starts at left, it doesn't fade. It's a behinders, or has he scraped it home? Jack! It did have a little bit of left to right on it. He gets Richmond's first.
Got it away to side bottom. The hand pass to Chris. Chris from 45 out. Sends it towards goal. What a finish.
This is an unfamiliar feeling for Richmond fans down at the punt road end. Grundy to Hoskin Elliott to Ngowi. It gets worse. Collingwood fans are out of their seats and Richmond fans are stunned.
Grandstand AFL.
The 2018 AFL Final Series.
On ABC Radio and on Grandstand Digital.
Quarter time at the MCG in the preliminary final. Collingwood has leapt out of the blocks against the reigning champs. Richmond leads 5-2-32. Collingwood. Richmond 1-3-9 at quarter time. And how the Collingwood fans were elated in that opening term of football. We've got two big contests going on at the moment within a few hundred metres of each other. At the MCG, the prelim final, and at Amy Park in the NRL, there's a prelim as well tonight with Melbourne Storm taking on the Cronulla Sharks. It's the Storm 8-0 over the Sharks, and that is after about half an hour of play. Cameron Smith has kicked a penalty goal and a conversion. Brodie Croft with the try for Melbourne Storm. At quarter time here at the MCG, your experts on Grandstand AFL, Brad Sewell and Mark McClure.
Al, it's been a fascinating start. Sellers, the very first bounce, we saw Martin start in, and then as soon as the ball left his area, he went forward. He doesn't look right. When he had an opportunity to run and jump at the ball, Howe was playing on him deep. He had no interest. And at the other end, Asprey looks undone, a couple of underdone, a couple of uncharacteristic efforts from him as well. Collingwood's ball movement has been really interesting. They've been very happy to hug the boundary line. They've had Grundy and Cox be that tall marking option down the line. And then when they've had Steele side bottom and Barco lurking around the drop of the ball, they've looked so dangerous. They got caught short a couple of times of shallow entries inside 50. That allows the Tigers defenders to get across and assist. But when they chain handballs and some instability forward of centre, it allows the Collingwood forwards greater leading options. And as I said, with Barco and side bottom, their decision making has been fantastic. And Ngowi, we wondered whether he could kick a bag. He's looked good.
He does look good. He looks fantastic. But this happens sometimes. You come up against a team who you know is pretty good, and they give you a little bit of a kicking at the start. Now it's about resetting for the Tigers. Now it's about actually setting up. Okay, we've got to stop side bottom straight away. He's the first bloke we knock over straight away. Get rid of that push forward. We actually got to win some centre bounce clearances. Our clearances are terrible at this stage. We're not winning any of that area, and we're not covering. When it goes in the forward line, it rushes out so quickly. In the past, there have been more numbers there to stop that. They haven't done that as well. So they've got a couple of little issues they can do, but good sides find a way to get better. In the areas like this, they've been hunted by the Collingwood football side and beaten comfortably in the first quarter. Doesn't mean they lose the game, the Tigers.
Pies are outworking the Tigers in transition. When the ball leaves an area, Collingwood are working harder to get to the drop of the ball. So if that ball isn't marked, Collingwood are chaining handballs out of that dangerous space.
Billy Slater's scored a try for Melbourne Storm. They now lead 12-0. A couple of the stats, Clint Wilden.
Disposals Collingwood's way, 112-86. The inside 50s also to the Magpies, 20-11. The clearances to Richmond, 12-10. The frees to Richmond, 5-1. The marks to Collingwood, 23-18. Still side bottom leads all comers downstairs with 9 disposals. Phillips and Adams with 8 apiece. The best for Richmond, Bostone and Cochin with 7 each.
Collingwood by 23 points as we start the second term. Grundy knocked it down. Pendlebury got it for Collingwood and got away from some pressure. He gave it to Sidebottom. Kicks to half forward. Myercheck in front. Knocked away from him by Broad. Swooping Adams gave to Treloar. He's besieged. Grimes and Cochin. No getting out of that. A ball up attacking side of the centre square for Collingwood. They attack the city end in this second term. 5-2-32 the Pies. Richmond 1-3-9.
Throw it aloft. Grundy wins the tap down to Main. Tries to break the Nankervis tackle. It should be, it is. Took him on. Couldn't get past the big fella. It's a win for the Tigers. Gives it off to Hooley. Kicks the right half forward. Met by Howe, though, for the Magpies. He's content to see it over the boundary line. Just forward of left half back for Collingwood.
Ngowi's the deepest forward for Collingwood. Martin's working his way through the midfield at the moment, and Riewoldt the deepest forward for Tigers.
It's an unfamiliar position for Richmond to be trailing by 23 points at any stage in a game this season. One down by Grundy with front position. Picked up by Cochin, though. Was able to get a hand pass forward. Then Main does the tackling, sees the ball over the boundary line for another throw-in.
We're in a minute in, and Cochin's had 3 goes. He's had a couple of tackles. He's had some hands on the ball, so he's starting to set an example. See what they can do.
Now the umpire unfurls. Again, Grundy at the back, won it down. Trying to work it out. Prestia, it's hacked up into the air. Comes out to side bottom. Now to Pendlebury. Has to get rid of it for the Magpies. Sends it down the southern wing. Unable to get there was Mychek. Oh, Adams bursting through. Gathers. Goes looking for Degoe in the left forward pocket. Spoiled by Rance at the back. Degoe looked to soccer it backwards. Worked out beautifully. Picked up at left half forward. Treloar inside forward 50. Mason Cox. He needed a big game. Could this be the start of it?
Who said he couldn't play? There's a few who did, not me.
Bit of pointing going on in the commentary box.
Not at all. No, I like him up there. He's become a focal point for them, and interesting he's now grabbing and his confidence is rising.
Just needed a dry day, didn't he?
It's a night. They're all slipping over.
45-degree angle to the left of centre. He'll kick from 30 outs. He steers it through. They look unstoppable at the moment, the Magpies. 6-2-38 to Richmond 139. They have kicked 4 unanswered goals and they lead by 29 points 3 minutes into the second term.
No, they're still charging the Pies. I love what they've done. The Tigers come out. There's a really tough tackle by Cochin in the middle of the ground. Turns it over. They kick the ball forward. They can't even get inside their own 50. They fiddle around and all of a sudden it comes back. And then Mason Cox, at 7 foot tall in the front half, grabs a mark, which is fantastic, and everyone loves it because this kid's been in the game for 2 years, playing on the biggest stage, 100,000. He would never have been in front of that, and then finishes it off to set him off again.
It's like Richmond thought this might be a walk in the park. It's that time of year where you've got to watch out for aggressive Magpies. Out of the middle, little soccer forward by Nankervis to centre half forward. Coming to meet at Langdon of Collingwood. He's tackled by a couple and dragged down. Ball up front edge of the centre square. Richmond's side of it. 60 metres from their goal at the punt road end. Knocked down by Grundy. Underneath at Pendlebury. Knocked it out to Main. Main gives to Treloar. He gets a kick into the middle of the MCG. Varco back with a flight with courage. He's paid the mark. He wants to get it moving. He's held up by Flostone. He's got it in the centre of the MCG. Collingwood leading by 29 points.
Varco inside forward 50. Up, and that's not a bad effort. McIntosh brought it to the ground. Oh, stolen away. Adams. Treloar for Collingwood from the right forward pocket. He puts it across the face. A minor score. It was there for him. Collingwood 6-3-39. Richmond 1-3-9. We've travelled 4 minutes. Second term.
It's that kick that the Pies need to be a little bit careful of. They need to get the ball through, break the line, get it in a little bit deeper in behind the Richmond defence.
Hooley to himself. Launches to half-back members' side. Rewalt charges at the ball. It goes through his hands. Picked up by Nankervis. Tackle, dispossessed. Gone! The confidence of Collingwood through the roof. Adams with the tackle and the free kick for the Pies.
They're aggressive. They can smell some blood in the water. Adams take advantage.
Inside 50. Out they come. Cox! Mark of his life! Launches, hung in the air. He's got the gorilla grip on the hands tonight. Probably doesn't know what it is.
They can't outreach him either.
You cannot allow Mason Cox separation and the reach to run and jump at the ball. You cannot get near him.
30 metres out, slight angle to the right. Mason Cox, after a couple of questionable performances, said the haters can hate. And now the lovers can love. Collingwood fans, this is emotion they never expected to feel. 35 minutes into a prelim, they are thumping Richmond. 36 points the lead. 5-minute mark, second term. Grandstand AFL, Collingwood 7-3-45. Richmond 1-3-9.
Sellers, 6 goals is a lengthy head start in a tight game in a prelim. Notwithstanding the Tigers have effectively got 20 players out there. Dusty Martin's not moving particularly well.
I'm not certain they've got 20.
Said,
I don't think they've got 20.
Remains to be seen, but the Pies could not ask for a better start.
It's Grundy against Nankervis, and it's Grundy who wins it down again. Stevenson out to gather, got tackled by Grigg, was able to work it away. Beautifully done in the end. Kicks long inside forward 50. No mark taken off the side kick. It spills to ground at right half forward. Conker put his head over the top of the football. Umpire lurks, holding the ball. Made no effort to get rid of it. Playing on quickly, Adams turns it over, speared it towards full forward. Taking the defensive mark, Basher Hooley. They need something, Richmond, and they need it quickly. Hooley towards left half back. Aisha's there, couldn't mark, spilled down to Adams. Hand passing forward. Treloar wanted Adams' hand pass, missed its target. Hooley will get a chance to clear again.
To the wing, he turns it over straight to Langdon. Marks near the AFL logo members' side.
Well, the Richmond midfield want to pick their game up a tad. They've been belted it all the way around the ground. They are getting killed, and all of a sudden their forward line is, the Pies forward line is the recipient of the whole lot. Pick your game up.
Langdon to Greenwood to Howard, centre half back who goes to side bottom, southern wing. Gave to Main, back to side bottom. Has a bounce, Cochin caught him. Well, that left the Tigers holding the ball.
25-9 disposals thus far this quarter, Collingwood's way. Dominance.
Out wide it goes to Broad. Broad southern side takes the mark for the Tigers.
Cochin's trying to lift his team. His efforts around the ball, his chase, tackle from behind is critical.
The kick is towards right half forward. Langdon saw it, punched it over the boundary line for a throw-in. Still at right half forward for the Tigers.
That piece of play shows that they've lost their dare already, because now they slowed down and bang one around the boundary line instead of inside and helter-skelter.
Richmond fans wondering what is going on. Nankervis with the touch, but back towards the boundary line for another throw-in. Collingwood, the past 5 unanswered goals.
14-5 contested possession. So is your point, the Richmond midfield are getting smoked at the moment?
Yeah, smashed.
Ball spun back in. Nankervis lost his footing. Ball ricochets away. Side bottom's there for Collingwood. Found Grundy. Gets the kick away towards the southern wing. Cox battling. Was able to work his teammate or opponent out against it. It came back towards Broad. He shares it down the line, sweeping it forward again. It comes to Hawley. Will kick towards right half forward. Up Castagna, couldn't mark. Now to Martin. To Caddy. Tried to spin away from trouble. Sweeps a hand pass forward. Will it sit for Castagna? He's taken to ground by Crisp, holding the ball. Free kick the way of the Magpies. They've got it inside their defensive 50.
They are absolutely all over Richmond. Crisp goes to right half back, finds Stevenson. Kicks to the members' wing. Cochin up against Myercheck. Tunnelled in, free kick. Myercheck's ball.
Tigers have not got a winning position on the ground at the moment. Complete domination this second quarter for Collingwood.
Myercheck from the members' wing, kicks in the Mason Cox direction. Confidence up this time. The spoil comes from Asprey. After it, Adams at right half forward. He punches it out of play. A boundary throw in 55 around from the Collingwood goal. The Pies 7-3-45 Richmond. They're just not here. 1-3-9.
Sorry, Asprey just got hands to Mason Cox in that marking contest. The whistle went to the umpire's mouth. He didn't blow it. They need to be careful of that.
Grundy was able to work it forward only as far as short for the Tigers. Tackled immediately. He's at right half forward as far as Collingwood's concerned. Ball up will be the call. Adams with 14 disposals. Side bottom with 13. The best for the Tigers. Hooley with 9.
Contested possession 17-7.
Grundy won it down. Now, was Pendlebury being held without it? He was.
17-7 to the Pies. Contested possessions. That's massive in this quarter alone.
Right call too. It's against Graham. So Pendlebury, 51 out from his attacking goal. Collingwood heading to the right of our broadcast position in this term. That's the city end. He'll pop it up. He wants the lead from Mason Cox. Oh, the USA chant will just ring around the MCG again. He'll look to go back and kick his third.
That was so predictable. Collingwood set that up beautifully. Just opened the space in front of Mason Cox. He pushed off Asprey, had plenty of room to move into, but Richmond just allowed it to happen. They sucked out of the space, Richmond, and just gave Cox this leading lane.
Mason Cox. He kicks the goal. 6 unanswered goals for the Magpies. He's got 3. Unbelievable. This is stunning in the first preliminary final. The Tigers, they'd won their past 22 straights. They were the favourites. And the Magpies have stunned them. They lead by 42 points at the 12-minute mark of the second term.
Well, there's a lot of people who came along and didn't think they'd see this. Well, they had to have a good look at it, because I saw Basher Hurley not even go for that. He was in the space to actually stand in front of Cox. He said, not my go. I'm not going. That's not good enough. And the Pies just march on.
Grundy and Nankervis. Nankervis the bash, but Greenwood the rove. Tumble punt forward. Great pick up. Thomas tackled as he got his kick away. It's flicked down the way of Edwards. Over the head. Hand pass creative to Short, who uses it well to the middle. Prestia by hand to Grigg. Here come the Tigers. Rewalt's on the end of it. He marks 48 from goal directly in front.
That's
their best bit of play.
It's the most assertive piece of transition we've seen, Sellers. You're exactly right. And the only consecutive possessions they've had this quarter, I think.
Jack Rewalt has become such an important leader in this Richmond lineup. The petulance is gone. The professionalism's there. The attitude. He plays on. He kicks it long and hard. They desperately need a goal. It's to the line. It's not quite there. Grundy knocks it down. Taken by Crisp. He's immediately tackled. Ball pops out the side. They spill over the top of it. In the goal square. We'll have a ball up.
Clever positioning by Collingwood. Mason Cox was the man on the mark, just meaning you have to kick over that extra height.
They did that so effectively in Perth a couple of weeks ago too. One down by Grundy. It spilled out for Collingwood to Chris. Pops it to Greenwood deep in the left back pocket. His kick was touched over the boundary line for a throw-in. Still in the left back pocket as far as the Magpies are concerned. So the last 3 goals to Mason Cox, the last 6 to Collingwood. Dare to say it's a hat-trick from Mason Cox. Do you know what a hat-trick is, I wonder?
Oh, I don't think so.
I think he might.
No, he's kicked 3. His confidence is soaring at the moment. No takeaway from the stoppage, 40 metres from the Richmond goal at the punt road end.
And Asprey's giving no resilience whatsoever.
He's been ill this week. Was in hospital, Dave Asprey. From the stoppage, Pendlebury gets it hand pass, slapped down by Higgins. Taken, though, by Goldsack. Worked it towards Grundy. He slapped it out the side. Over the top of it, taken high. Greenwood's free kick for Collingwood. Martin got into him. And Greenwood near defensive 50, kicks to the southern wing. Broad comes off his man, gathers on the bounce, did well. Hand pass a little too far out in front of the intended target.
Numbers, look at the black and white numbers everywhere.
Prestia couldn't win it. Pendlebury gave a hand pass away. Further afield, they work it to Mychik. Members wing, he kicks to Barco, wandering to half forward, open forward line to go. He's there. Kick partially smothered on the way in. Grimes comes out. Socket back the other way by Barco. To the pocket. Hoskin Elliott gets it. He's confronted by Edwards. Knocked over. Another soccer out of defence by Grimes. He's playing a different game at the moment. Richmond's playing a different game as well. Out of defence they come. The kick from McIntosh towards the southern wing. Taken there by Caddy, is able to work it on towards Revolt. Hand pass inboard, beautifully gathered by Grigg, was tackled by Pendlebury, ball jars free. Langdon picks it up for the Magpies. He's able to work it on towards Stevenson. Kicks towards left half forward. Spoil came from Rance at the back, down towards Short. Kicks down the southern wing. Revolt attacked the football, couldn't get there to pick it up a second time. Grigg does, and he's tackled the ground. Ball up on the southern wing. Collingwood's lead, a staggering 42 points at the 15-minute mark of the second term on Grandstand AFL. Richmond has kicked only 1 goal for the contest. Collingwood has kicked 8. From the stoppage on the wing, City side. No clean takeaway. Then Curvis takes it. He's tackled. Ball knocked out the backside. Got a hand pass to Crisp. Away come Collingwood again. A hand pass to Thomas. Back to Crisp. Non-preferred right into the middle. A bullet pass. Marked by Hoskin Elliott. Hand pass to Maynard. Forward of the circle. He dishes to Thomas. Back to Maynard. Thumping leg. Doesn't use it. Hand pass slapped down. Rance was brilliant. Picked up by McIntosh. Centre half back. And he kicks to the middle for Prestia. Prestia is able to hand it off to Higgins. Inside forward 50. Vorstone marks.
That's only their 3rd for the quarter. Their 3rd inside 50 to 10.
Alex Rance just getting his hand on the ball at critical stage. I think that's the second time this quarter. Was he the one that came off defensively to Goey to get the smother from Varco? That's 2 certain goals that he's saved single-handedly.
Lostone, just 5 goals for the season, and he kicks like that as well. He misses to the left-hand side. Tim Hodges is downstairs. Tim?
You made the point before, guys. Mason Cox just ran 60 metres to stand on the mark there on Blostone's mark, and it was enough to put him off, and he wasn't the actual man on the mark, but he was directly behind him and forced that behind.
Howe to himself and launches long to the back flank. Here is Mason Cox. Brought it to ground level. Hoskin Elliott knocked it out the side. Side bottom fumbled near the boundary line. He sees it out of play. So that score just then from Flostone was Richmond's first score since the 14-minute mark of the opening term. Their first score of any persuasion. 8-3-51. Richmond 1-4-10. Collingwood in front by 41 points. Now 17 minutes into the second term. From the throw-in, Cochin gets it, gives to Lambert. Hand pass over his head to Prestia, back to Cochin. Awkward kick inside the 50, good pick up Martin. He tried to brush a tackle, he got a hand pass away. Little hand pass from Higgins to Grigg. Kicks to the top of the goal square, back with a flight ace, punches it through for another minor Richmond's way. Margin back to 40 points. 17 played of the second term. The preliminary final on Grandstand AFL.
Thumping kick from Maynard beyond defensive 50. The spoil came at the back though from the Tigers. Good aggressive play this time. Grimes on in turn to Higgins, then to Lambert. Kick straight towards Aish, who marked defensively in a pack at fullback. Steers it for Collingwood into the left back pocket. Finds Maynard beyond defensive 50. Phillips sees it go by and worked it well, and then soccers it along the ground. He wants Adams, had a big swing at it, missed. Short's able to pick it up for Richmond. Then to Cochin. Moving it forward again, Prestia. Inside forward, 50. Didn't have enough on it. Howe went out after it. Got it to ground. Spilled back though to Martin. Martin tackled. Somehow got a hand pass away. Langdon couldn't pick it up. Chance again for Lambert. Put his head over the football. It's been held to him. Umpire works. Ball up. Inside Richmond's attacking 50. Collingwood lead by 40 points, 19 gone in the second term. Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and Grandstand Digital.
A palm from Grundy down. Lambert couldn't get it for Richmond. Grundy picked it up, gave to Phillips. Under pressure from Flostone. Gets a clearing kick underneath it. Graham of the Tigers told to play on after taking it. Tackled by Ace. Got it to Prestia. He's caught by Trelaw. Turned it over by hand. Hoskin Elliott gets it. Kicks to the wing straight to Rance. Rance marks on his chest. Centre of the southern wing.
Collingwood's tackle pressure has been huge, but this has been a sustained effort by Richmond just to keep in the game.
Kick goes to centre half back and Grigg, who comes to the members' side of the ground, and Conker, who marks on the logo.
Conker heads out looking for Broad. Has he taken the mark? No, out on the full. Nothing going Richmond's way. Crisp has got the free kick forward of right half back for the Magpies, and he's able to spot a teammate in Mychek who got away from his opponent and marked it right half forward. He'll send it inside forward 50. Big link, no mark taken. Hoskin Elliott winner. Trying to get to it is Rance. Ball's going to be held in here between the legs of Hoskin Elliott, which might have been a mite uncomfortable, but a ball up the call. Tim Hodges downstairs on the boundary.
It just seems now that Collingwood knows David Asprey is so underdone that they're just making whoever is on him, giving him heaps of space to run off because Asprey simply can't go with him.
Grundy down to Mychek, to Adams, to Main by hand to side bottom, top of the 50 to Crisp, who gets a look at them on his preferred left. Fires away and strikes again. Players leap into the arms of Jack Crisp, who's kicked 2 for Collingwood. The Pies have got 9. This is almost turning into a Collingwood party at the MCG. 9-3-57 Collingwood. Richmond 1-5-11. 20-minute mark second term, and Brad Sewell, even when Richmond looks like it's starting to have a few moments, Collingwood scores.
They just cannot go with the Pies at the moment, Richmond. Across the ground, they do not have a single winner. For the last 5 minutes, we've seen a sustained period of effort without reward, no less. Collingwood haven't dropped off. Their tackle pressure has just been fantastic. They're just grinding away at the moment, the Pies. They've identified some weak links. They're running the ball around the boundary line, getting it deep in their forward line. Look fantastic at the moment, Collingwood.
7 unanswered goals now for the Magpies. Side tried to work it away. Lambert punched it forward, only as far as side bottom. They've got it again, the Magpies. De Goey leading out straight up the corridor. The kick went. De Goey marks.
How good is Steele side bottom? With ball in hand, he doesn't miss. He's cool, hits the target perfectly, and De Goey's a big one.
It's just interesting watching Richmond react too. There's little energy out there from them. You don't see anyone trying to get around to razz anyone up. There's little support. There's not much life out there from the Tigers.
They are flats. De Goey, though, looking to make the Collingwood Army up and about again from 49 metres out from goal. The kick's out to the right. It misses to the right. They move to be 9-4, 58. Richmond are 1-5-11, but that margin, 47 points in favour of Collingwood, 22 gone second term.
The way it's going, it's just impossible to see how Richmond could find a way back. Short kicks in, Howell's up, knocked it down. Adams got it, gave to Sidebottom, gave to Crisp. They're winning everything. Kick goes back in the De Goey direction. He's got it again! Jordan De Goey opposed to Alex Rance, no less. Beat him one-on-one in a physical duel and took a one-handed mark. 15 metres out, 45-degree angle to the right.
Oh, their defence is a shambles, isn't it? Complete shambles.
What a grab. He's just completely nutted and made one of the best one-on-one players look silly there, De Goey.
And now for the finishing piece to the act. De Goey's got 3 in a preliminary final. Collingwood fans are dizzy. Their team is taking them to such heights at the MCG. 10-4-64 Collingwood. The reigning Premier Richmond. 22 consecutive wins at this ground. 1-5-11. And we're at the 23-minute mark of the second quarter.
Well, they stood there having a little powwow, the Tigers defenders. Well, they should have a bit more than that. What about finding a man and actually playing on him? They cannot. They get separated so well that the Pies have actually destroyed him in that area. And all of a sudden, a one-on-one, they're not that good. Guess what?
This is absolutely unbelievable, and Collingwood almost get the clearance again. Cochin has to intercept. Tackled, though, by Main. Pop the hand pass to Grigg. They're maniacal at the moment, the Magpies. The pressure has been relentless on a side so admired for its pressure. Grundy again with the tap. Fingertips down to Sire. Sweeps the hand pass forward. Chalor was after it. Couldn't quite gather it. Adams was there. Back to Sire. Kicks Collingwood inside forward 50. Varco chases it. Getting there first Grimes. His hand pass finds Conker for the Tigers. Bounces it to Prestia. He can move it short to that man himself. Short to short. Who goes beyond defensive 50. Sends it to the outer side. Pack of 4 up. 3 of them were Magpies, but it came down to Lambert. Got it to Higgins. Now to McIntosh. Puts the Tigers inside forward 50. Couldn't find Revolt first time. He'll track it to the boundary line. Goldsack made sure it's over for a throw-in. In the right forward pocket for the Tigers, who are still looking for their first goal since the 15-minute mark of the opening term, and they trail by 53. 25 gone in the second.
14-3 clearances this quarter Collingwood's way. It's amazing.
Rewalt goes against Grundy in the ruck. May have won it down as well. Caddy gets it, got through the pack, snaps from the impossible angle. He gets too much curl. And Sidebottom takes the mark in the right back pocket for the Pies.
The Richmond midfield have completely gone missing around the contest and in transition.
Short pass to Crisp. What an opening half he's had in this prelim. Jack Crisp. From the right back pocket. He kicks to the members' side. And Curvis in front of Myercheck takes the mark and wants to get it moving forward. He kicks over the head of Rewalt by a few metres and straight back to Crisp. Right back pocket in front of the Olympic stand. Collingwood 10-4-64. Richmond 1-5-11. 25 played second quarter.
Tigers fans are in shock and silence around the ground as Myercheck couldn't quite complete the mark. Spilled down to Lambert. Quick hand pass. No one finds a target. Nicely done by Grimes. Gets a hand pass inboard again. On in turn to Conker. Then to Martin. Now to Cochin. Sweeps it inboard. Oh, Rance Not sure what he was trying to do. Off the outside of the right boot, it worked its way towards Grigg. Might work out okay. Goes back to Rance. Kicks towards full forward. Revolt had a go at it. Not quite. It's across the goal line. And for a minor score only. Still without a goal since the 15-minute mark of that opening term. Collingwood's lead is cut to, and I mean this quite sincerely, 52 points. Revolt had a swing and a miss not to be in the goal square.
Goldsack kicks in. His extraordinary recovery in 6 months from a knee reconstruction, and he could be off to a grand final again, Tyson Goldsack. Off the pack, crisp to Adams down low, he worked it out. Pendlebury tried to keep it moving. Richmond doing enough to pressure and keep it inside attacking 50. Comes to Adams, his hand pass, pinched by Castagna. He gets around 1:45 out. Chip pass down low, half volley pick up by Rewald. He's got Goldsack for company. He's caught. Squaring ball. Jeremy Howe sets himself, can't mark, knocked over. Picked up by Lambert. Left foot snap, misses on the left. And another behind to the Tigers. So Richmond in this second term, 4 behinds is all they have mustered. 1-7-13 to Collingwood 10-4-64. 27-minute mark.
Magpies have moved it into the right back pocket. Langdon marking. And he'll send it beyond defensive 50. Grundy runs at the football. Couldn't complete the mark. McIntosh was there. Had it stolen away from him by Mychek. It's a sigh for the Magpies. Back to side. Right back. Oh, stolen by Martin. Hand passes on to Rioli. Rioli fends off Bain. Goes back again by a hand. Chance to go long towards goal from Lambert. He misses. Hitting the post. The left-hand side. It just won't open up for Richmond. They're 1-8.
Who's come back? Who's come back from 50 points behind in a final?
Need to find a bloke by the name of Lazarus. Collingwood 10-4-64, 28 gone second term.
He's playing for Collingwood. His name's Tyson Goldsack. Howe kicks in from full back. Off the pack, Sai got a hand pass to Sidebottom to Grundy under the pump. He gave it straight to Nankervis. Hand pass to McIntosh. He kicks the Tigers to full forward. Phillips is there, but Higgins coming through, takes the mark directly in front. He's 25 metres out.
It's been much better by the Tigers. A sustained period where they've locked the ball in their half. They haven't allowed Collingwood to get out of their defensive 50. It's been repeat entry. And it's just a matter of time till they hopefully hit this goal.
Jack Higgins puts it through. Those seats will be warm down at the punt road end because a Tiger fan has not been out of one for quite some time. Not since midway through the opening term as Richmond kicked a goal. And we're now 29 minutes into the second. The Tigers have their second. 10-4-64 Collingwood. Richmond 2-8-20.
You go on the early crow, Salas? You think it's all over?
Well, 50 points is a hell of a long way in front in any game of footy, and they have not even got warm yet, and I don't understand why they haven't got warm. I do have an idea, because they played a couple of injured players, their lack of confidence is poor, and the Pies have actually attacked everything that they've done, and got some set plays, like Cox standing on marks and bits and pieces around the place. Good stuff.
Yeah, Gervis is able to win it down. What can the Tigers do? Popped up though by Sidebottom. Sire, well tackled. Edwards spilled out to Lambert, got it onto Hawley, and that's the siren for half-time. And while a late flurry from Richmond finally got them their first goal of that second term, it's the Collingwood fans who will be just beside themselves in delight. 10-4-64. The Magpies, they lead Richmond 2-8-20. Collingwood by 44 points at half-time in the first preliminary final. It's been a staggering start.
The goal kickers for Collingwood. Mason Cox. 3 goals in that second term. Mason Cox. Jordan Ngoe has kicked 3, 2 in the first, 1 in the second. 2 goals to Crisp, 1 in each. And singles to Mychek and Varco. While for Riewoldt, their 2 goals to half-time have come through Jack Riewoldt and Jack Higgins. And Higgins only just before the half-time bell. 10-4-64 Collingwood. Richmond 2-8-20. The margin has been out as far as 53 points when Ngoe goaled at the 23-minute mark of that term. As it stands at half-time, it is 44. in the NRL. Melbourne Storm doing a Collingwood on Cronulla. 20 points to nothing up. And that is in the early stages of the second half across the road in the NRL prelim. Billy Slater, in his last game at Amy Park, has scored 2 tries for Melbourne Storm. But goodness me, Brad Sewell, Mark McClure, how do you sum up that first half of football?
Complete, utter dominance by the Pies.
No doubt about it. The game started with De Goey early with a couple of goals in the first quarter. And then Varco chipped in around the place. And I love the way that he's played Varco. What they've done is they put Varco on short, Stevenson on Grimes, who makes him run and run and run and takes him away from the actual big boys where he always comes in as a third man up. Cox on Asprey. Asprey is not well, shouldn't be there. De Goey on Rance, and he's separated as well, so he's got no two-man up all the time coming through. They have worked out a really good plan. I love Adams, Phillips and Sidebottom, who works through the middle of the ground. They have just dominated. Sidebottom has been best on the ground by 100 miles in this game, and you can throw in, that's in the first quarter only. Inside 50s were 20-11 with 5 goals to 1 in the first quarter, and they walk in proud. You think that the Tigers will come back in the second? Well, no, they don't. They just cannot. They can't find a way. Mason Cox takes hold, kicks 3 goals, 3 early goals too. Then you throw one to Crisp as well. You can throw in also to Goey, grabs one, and another one goes to oh no, sorry, I apologise. Cripps was the one from the back line, and that's one that you'd love if you're a defender of the Collingwood footy side. Someone who can run from half back and finish off and do another one. They kicked 5 in the first, 5 in the second. They've been dominant in every quarter, both quarters. Richmond had 6 shots on goal. 1 goal, 5 they kicked, and the goal came in the last 3 to 4 minutes. 44 points down. Good luck coming back from there. You want to improve 100% if you're going to get anywhere near them. I can't see him doing it. I can tell you I cannot see him doing it because they cannot find a way.
To play devil's advocate, Sellers, for the first time that last 10 minutes we saw some life from the Tigers. Some sustained efforts. They kept the ball. They locked it in their half. And they finally got some reward for their efforts. They've kicked 2-8. It's not as though they haven't had their chances. They haven't had the opportunities. Inside 50s, 23-35. Now, that doesn't indicate what's happened on the scoreboard. Yes, the scoreboard is the most important indicator. Grundy in the ruck is doing an absolute job at the moment. 33 hit-outs to 12. Clearances 24-16. He's absolutely dominating, giving the Pies first use of the ball. Richmond midfielders for the first half of that second quarter were non-existent. They weren't out there. They had no impact, no influence. Contested possessions, 68-83 in Collingwood's way. Uncontested possession, 128-102 in Collingwood's way. They're hurting the Pies in transition. They're hurting them around the ball. You're exactly right. They're a hell of a long way back, Richmond. But these preliminary finals are a funny beast.
Well, they are funny, but I tell you what, his chest to be poked out. The midfield of Damien Hardwick would be straight into him and say, come with me. I want to talk to you blokes right now. This is where it all starts in the midfield. We're getting destroyed. Clearances were getting destroyed. Cotchin tried hard early to push and shove, but he hasn't got many partners with him. He's got no passengers on the boat, so he's in a bit of trouble there. They are at 6s and 7s, and the defence is... I've never seen the defence like this. They're not kicking it in high. They're kicking it in low. Cox is marking it up there, which has been fantastic to watch. The 7-footer come out with a low kick. And they've been practising that, and we've been talking about it for some time. He's marked them. He's kicked 3. That is special for a bloke like that in a final like this in front of 100,000 people in his second year of AFL football. He's doing a really good job, and I love to see that.
Dustin Martin's only had the 10 disposals, but it's quite clear he's running around at 65-70%. At best.
Yeah, but he's done nothing.
He's had no impact on the game whatsoever. When he's gone forward, he hasn't drawn the ball. He hasn't looked like the presence that we've become accustomed to. This is arguably the best player in the competition having no influence.
None.
On the game.
No, he's been injured all week, and they said, oh, he's not too bad. He's okay. He'll play. Don't worry about it. Well, he played, but he's not playing. That's the problem.
And you mentioned Asprey. You cannot carry in big games, in finals, you cannot carry 2 players that are as underdone as what both Asprey and Martin appear.
No, you don't need to carry them either, because you set a standard then that, we can't play anyone else. That's wrong. They've got other players in the reserves and who've been around the place for some time, and they can actually stand up. Garthwaite is the other one who's a chance to play in that spot. He should have been playing. He should have been there. He's fit and he's tough and he's strong. Because if you're 1% off here or 5% off your game against the best athletes in the world almost, you're going to get killed. And they are.
So just on the numbers, boys, if Richmond could come back, and that's a huge if, would take something as extraordinary as we've seen from Collingwood in the first half of football. If they can do it, it will be the greatest finals comeback ever. 47 points is the greatest finals comeback. The 1931 preliminary final between Geelong and Carlton won by Geelong, so the Cats were down by that margin.
Another one we lost.
You've won a few, Sellers. 16 premierships. So that's back in 1931. The biggest margin in this game was after the De Goey goal at the 23-minute mark when Collingwood led by 53 points.
I've got one for you, Sellers.
Yeah, come with
Here
me.
we go. 1970 grand final.
I remember it clearly.
Collingwood led by 44 points.
Yeah, exactly.
And went down to the Blues.
Well, what did you expect?
Well, just suggesting that I would imagine that there'd be a few Collingwood fans that would remember that a 44-point margin at the MCG in a final is not everything that it might otherwise appear.
I understand that, but they just can't get their hands on the ball. They just cannot get their hands on the ball. And the Blues actually, I think that was Ron Barassi saying, why don't you just handball whenever you can? And all of a sudden they started and they moved the ball well, but he took a player off and he poured on. Who was it?
Who came on the ground?
I can't remember. Who was it?
In the 70 grand final?
Hopkins.
Teddy Hopkins.
That's
Teddy Hopkins.
How silly of me. I am getting old, aren't I?
It will be Richmond's, I think, biggest ever comeback at half-time from what we've been able to find out. 36 points is their biggest.
If they do, they will never be challenged again. Because they are so far down on the way they're playing. They've got to change a whole lot of things. The first thing I'd be doing is go and get side bottom. I don't care who it is. Plonk someone on him and don't let him touch the ball because he is dominating.
Why haven't they done it already, Sully?
Because they're backing in their system. And they're backing in their system when it's fully functioning. And they're not fully functioning tonight. You cannot carry players that are as underdone as what they are. And maybe it comes down to having only played one game in 27 days or whatever that might have been.
It is.
That can't not be a factor in some way, shape or form. Collingwood are a fast starting team. Richmond are not. And when you're underdone and when you've not... Whether they're too relaxed coming, whether they thought it was just going to roll through, they've been completely smashed around the ball in transition. They've been outworked and they've made it extraordinarily difficult for themselves.
They are a brilliant finishing team, Richmond, and Collingwood has gone with Richmond in 2 matches this season to three-quarter time and only been trailing by fairly narrow margins at three-quarter time and then been blown away in the last. Very different circumstances here.
And I haven't seen them start to get actually nasty against the opposition either, and that's where they need to get to. They need to get to that aggressive stage, and they're not that. They usually are brutal on the opposition. Haven't seen one thing.
It's been an extraordinary first half of football in the preliminary final with the reigning champions Richmond right on the ropes. Collingwood 10-4-64, the Tigers 2-8-20 at half-time. Half-time in the NRL is over and they're 9 minutes now into the second half. Melbourne Storm is leading Cronulla in the prelim 20 points to nil. Billy Slater has scored 2 tries and the crowd over the road is an excellent one as well. 26,621. The MCG would be nudging 97,000. Half-time here at the MCG. Collingwood with one hand on a spot in the grand final. Could Richmond mount a record-breaking comeback? We'll find out shortly, but for now we take you to the ABC newsroom.
Jamel Wells with ABC News. 5 people have been injured in a shooting in New York. Miles Holbrook-Walk reports.
Police responded to a shooting in Syracuse, 400 kilometres west of New York City, just after 9 p.m. on Thursday night. Local media have reported the shooting took place at a family gathering to remember a person who died from cancer. Witnesses say they saw 2 to 3 possible shooters and that they heard at least 10 shots fired. Syracuse Police Chief Frank Fowler described the events as tragic. He wouldn't disclose the condition of the 5 people wounded in the shooting, including an 8-year-old girl.
The federal government has refused to comment on the progress of negotiations with the Brazilian government over the extradition of the man accused of killing a Sydney mining executive. Mark Reddy reports.
Appearing before a court in Rio yesterday, Brazilian police accused Australian authorities of failing to hand over evidence that could convict Mário Santoro of murdering his ex-girlfriend, Cecilia Haddad. The day after she was found dead in a Sydney river, Mr Santoro fled the country. New South Wales police say they're unable to assist with the prosecution case while diplomatic negotiations take place. Federal Attorney General Christian Porter wouldn't comment on the talks.
We just do not go into individual extradition matters. That is a long-standing practice.
The pre-trial continues next month.
A Tasmanian bishop being investigated by the Anglican Church has made a last-minute application for proceedings to be permanently suspended. Political reporter Alexandra Humphreys has more.
Last year, a church disciplinary process began to investigate Bishop Philip Newell after the Royal Commission heard evidence he had been made aware that a now convicted pedophile, Louis Daniels, had sexually abused 3 boys, but he had allowed him to stay in the church. Bishop Newell is scheduled to appear before a church tribunal on Monday, but his lawyers have applied to Tasmania's Supreme Court for a permanent stay on proceedings because of his ill health. His legal counsel, Jeff Tremaine, says Bishop Newell is neither physically or mentally able to appear and answer the complaint. The Supreme Court has not yet set a date to hear the stay application.
The Northern Territory coroner has condemned the Top End Health Service for leaving 2 men to die in pain after surgery at Royal Darwin Hospital. Stephanie Zillman reports.
Coroner Greg Kavanagh has found the 2 men, 68-year-old David Fensom and 77-year-old Henry George Wilson, died at Royal Darwin Hospital after not receiving adequate care. He said both cases exposed failures in treatment and communication by an organisation that sought to deny the issues. In his findings, he also questioned how future deaths would be prevented when the Top End Health Service seemed intent on defending the actions of staff rather than analysing the facts. He said the health service hadn't sought to learn from the deaths by the time of the inquest.
The Victorian Supreme Court has blocked an effort to continue gas exploration, upholding a statewide moratorium. James Oaten reports.
Resources company Lakes Oil, which is partly owned by mining magnate Gina Rinehart, wanted to continue gas exploration at 6 sites in southwestern Victoria and Gippsland, despite a statewide moratorium on all onshore gas exploration activities. Lakes Oil argued the moratorium was unlawful and it should be allowed to continue minimum work, but the Supreme Court found the legislation's purpose was to suspend all exploration work. The moratorium on conventional gas will expire in June 2020, but a ban on hydraulic fracturing, known as fracking, is indefinite.
The death toll from a capsized ferry in Tanzania has risen to 80, the BBC's Anne Sawyer reports.
Search and rescue efforts resumed at daybreak. The true number of passengers is still unknown, although officials say over 400 could have been on board the MV Nyerere. Reuters news agency reports that the ticket seller was amongst the dead, and so passenger records have also been lost. Tanzania has seen a number of ferry disasters in recent years. The loss of at least 800 people in a single incident in 1996 was one of the worst of the 20th century.
And the Port Adelaide AFL club says it's accepted an apology from midfielder Sam Powell-Pepper over a social media photo under investigation by the AFL Integrity Unit. The photo is of the player in his underwear, with his clothed girlfriend resting her head on his leg. Tomorrow's weather: Brisbane partly cloudy 24, Sydney partly cloudy 23, Canberra partly cloudy 21, Melbourne fine 20, Hobart late showers 18, Adelaide sunny 21.
ABC Radio is your home of news and current affairs throughout the day, every day. Start your morning with AM at 8 o'clock, Monday to Friday with Sabra Lane, and on Saturdays with Elizabeth Jackson. At midday, Eleanor Hall brings you The World Today. And at 6:30 each weekday evening, join me, Linda Mottram, for PM. A half an hour of the national news and analysis that you need to know. That's 6:30 Monday to Friday. ABC Radio, your home for news and current affairs throughout the day.
I don't want to alarm you, but there's a tidal wave coming.
There's a wicket.
left.
A tsunami of cricket.
Women's T20 and one-day internationals. The WBBL. Men's T20, one-day internationals and Test series. Australia vs India and Australia vs Sri Lanka.
Hi, I'm Elisa Healy.
Hi, I'm Mitch Stark. For all the summer's test matches, T20s and one-day internationals, listen to
ABC Grandstand's Summer of Cricket.
Starts September 29.
Grandstand AFL.
Grandstand AFL.
AFL.
You're with Grandstand.
The first preliminary final.
AFL.
Live from the MCG.
Inside 50, out they come. Cox! Mark of his life! Launches, hung in the air. He's got the gorilla grip on the hands tonight. Mason Cox, after a couple of questionable performances, said the haters can hate. And now the lovers can love. Collingwood fans, this is emotion they never expected to feel. They are thumping Richmond.
6 goals is a lengthy head start in a prelim. Pies could not ask for a better start.
He'll pop it up. He wants the lead from Mason Cox. And the USA chant will just ring around the MCG again. Mason Cox. He kicks the goal. 6 unanswered goals for the Magpies. They lead by 42 points at the 12-minute mark of the second term.
Domain by hand to side bottom, top of the 50 to Crisp, who gets a look at them on his preferred left. Fires away and strikes again. Adams got it, gave to side bottom, gave to Crisp. They're winning everything. Kick goes back into the Goey direction. He's got it again. Jordan Goey opposed to Alex Rance, no less.
What a grab. He's just completely nutted and made one of the best one-on-one players look silly there, Goey.
And now for the finishing piece to the act. Goey's got 3. He kicks the Tigers to full forward. Phillips is there, but Higgins coming through, takes the mark directly in front. Jack Higgins puts it through. Those seats will be warm down at the Punt Road end because a Tiger fan has not been out of one for quite some time.
Grandstand AFL.
The 2018 AFL Final Series.
On ABC Radio and on Grandstand Digital.
10-4-64 Collingwood, Richmond 2-8-20 in the preliminary final. The greatest ever comeback in a final would be required for Richmond to win. The Tigers were down by 53 points during that second term. And the greatest comeback in a final, 47 points, the 1931 prelim. Geelong beat Carlton. Now, a few on Twitter have got in contact and are clarifying around the 1970 grand final. The 44-point margin held by Collingwood in that game is the greatest ever comeback made by Carlton in that match at half-time in a final. We're about to go in the second half. Richmond back out on the ground. Collingwood. And the Pies keep it going. A few of the numbers with Clint Wheeldon.
Disposals to the Magpies, 206 to Richmond's 174. The marks to Collingwood, 43 to 30. The tackles to Richmond, 36 to 35. The inside 50s, Collingwood, 35 to 23. The contested possessions, Collingwood, 83 to 68. And the clearances to Collingwood, 24 to 17. The free kicks are 7 apiece. In terms of individual disposals, Adams and Sidebottom for the Magpies with 20. Crisp has 16, Sire with 15. While for the Tigers, it's Cochin with 14, Lambert 13, Hawley, Martin and Prestia with 10. The scoreboard is what matters. The Magpies by 44 points. Richmond, this is not a position that they've been used to in the past 2 seasons. This has been the ground at which they have been unbeatable. Can they conjure up the miraculous? Let's find out on Grandstand AFL. The tap down in the centre from Nankervis. He hacks it off the ground and sockers towards centre half forward. Castagna marks, spears it inside forward 50 to Revolt, who must go back and kick the goal.
They won a clearance. Hallelujah would say. They need to get in within 20 to 24 points at three-quarter time. That's all they need to do. Peg back a little bit and make the opposition nervous. This will be the start of it.
Revolt has 1 goal, 1. He's right in front. Will kick from 50 outs. Again, it's Mason Cox on the mark. Revolt, he needs this to give the Tigers any hope, and he does. The start they desperately required. Richmond have got their third and they cut Collingwood's lead to 38 points in the opening minute of the third term. Collingwood 10-4-64. The Tigers 3-8-26. He's got his second, Jack Riewoldt.
There's a pulse. Most importantly, after that goal, there was genuine emotion, passion. There was feeling from the Tigers. And Jack Riewoldt is the antithesis of that for Richmond. If they're to claw this back, they need to get the ball in his hands more often. He ignites the team. He ignites everybody around him. He can be polarising at times, but he is the ignition.
Trent Cotchin pulled them all in before they went into the rooms and gave them a good talking to. Can he inspire them out of the middle? Grundy gets it, gives to Greenwood. Collingwood comes forward. De Goey's on the lead, got a metre on Ranson. Marks! Tumbling 48 metres from goal. He's to the right of centre, Jordan De Goey, and has 3 goals to his name already.
And he has the distance. He thumps it long. He's a good player, isn't he? Hits it front. No one could touch that. Rance was right on his tail, couldn't get near it. Took an easy chest mark.
He's so quick.
He's real quick.
But what he does, he reads the drop of the ball really well. He just protects that with his shoulders, rounds his shoulders over so Rance can't get a fist on it.
Disciplinary issues had him out of the team at the start of the year. Jordan De Goey, he misses on the right-hand side. 3 goals, 2 for Jordan De Goey. Collingwood's lead is 39 points, early stages of the third term.
How do the Tigers respond?
Dustin Martin calling it long. Greenwood still manning him through the midfield.
Asprey sends it beyond defensive 50. Grundy was up. Goldsack had hit him on the ground. Tries to get a quick hand pass away. Great tackle, Conker. But up Pendlebury, they try to move it quickly forward. It's going to come back here, I think. Yeah, it will. Right back to Conker. He'll have the ball at right half back. It's at long down the commentary wing. Again, no one can take the mark. It spills out the back. Gathered by Chris for the Magpies to Langdon. Now to Maynard. Just pops it to Phillips. He marks forward of left half back for Collingwood. Sends it in the direction of Mason Cox. Strong mark. Wastone was coming, but he stood his ground and he took the grab. Gets told to play on now. Sends it towards full forward. No one marks. At the back to Goey. He dribbles it along the ground. He's got 4. Jordan De Goey. It's September. It's Magpie season. And they're back to a 45-point lead. 3 and a bit gone in the third term. Collingwood 11-5-71. Richmond 3-8-26 on Grandstand AFL.
And the Pies snuff him out again. Another one to Mason Cox. Great mark in the middle there. Played on straight away to go. And that upsets the defence of Richmond. They can't settle. They can't set up. It comes off hands and De Goey's too strong again. Holds his feet and finishes it off. But the Cox mark was a beauty. And that's what set it up with a mark and roll straight away. And that's the key to this game. Move it in quick.
Sorry, Sellers. Cox's game sense is really impressive for a guy who's only played 40-odd games of footy.
Awkward bounce in the middle will be recalled. He's taken 7 marks, Mason Cox, and we've only been going a few minutes in the second half. And they've all been one grabbers as well. Grundy out of the middle. Adams after it. Maybe taken without the ball. Free kick against Cotchin. Jordan De Goey has now kicked 9 goals in this finals campaign for Collingwood. Adams to centre half forward. Sire takes the mark uncontested. De Goey's deep. Cox is on the lead. That's ignored.
Waiting for Cox. Here they go again.
Sire in the Cox direction. Sellers picked it. He was crashed into, but he's still held on. Mason Cox is playing like a man possessed.
They're going to put Asprey on a stretcher soon.
He can't go with him.
Can't go anywhere near him. Cox is quicker, taller, moving better and marking better than anyone on the ground.
Cox almost directly in front, 35 metres out. He comes in and he's really hit this awkwardly. That looked like a Texan kicking a Sherrin. Away to the left. Just scraped it in for a minor score.
He's lucky to hit his foot.
46 points, the Collingwood lead, 5-minute mark of the third term.
Not quite the Texas wedge. Lost on.
Depends who's using it.
That's a very good point. Beyond defensive 50. Finds Martin. Pops the hand pass back inside. Chance to go long down the line. It came from Brestia towards left half forward. Gathering it there is Edwards. Thought about running backwards, then steadies, and then beautifully sends it inside forward 50. The lead was Revolt. And he takes the mark. It's about 45 degrees to the left of centre. He'll boot the ball from 45 out.
Edwards is somebody we haven't seen much of tonight either. Sellers, his usually creative flair has been lacking, and again Jack Riewold's been one of the only options up forward.
He has time though. There's time to go. They need to bang 3 or 4 on and test him again.
Jack Riewoldt again looking to give the Tigers some life, but he kicks the goal. A major created by 2 All-Australians in 2018. And they cut Collingwood's lead back to 40 points. Still, there's the faintest of pulses as far as Richmond's concerned. Collingwood 11-6-72. Richmond 4-8-32. 7 gone in the third term on Grandstand AFL.
That forward thrust for Richmond began from a Dustin Martin contested mark on that far side. We haven't seen anything of that whatsoever. He was quick, he rolled, he played on, handballed, created, got the ball in the hands of Edwards, who just a searing kick inside 50 to Riewoldt, who finished it off. We need to see more of those 3 in particular getting involved.
3 goals for Riewoldt now in each of his 3 games against Collingwood this season. They'll need a few more from him. Adams out of the middle, gave to Grundy. How to fumble, he got it again, gave to Greenwood. High kick up and under, just outside the centre square to the southern side. It pitches over the head of Martin. Greenwood took it, barreled as he banged it inside the centre square. Adams gets it, gets away from Grigg. Kicks to centre half forward. Mason Cox one-handed this time. Surprising he didn't take that the way he's going. He flicks it out the side to Short, and Short for Richmond clears to right half back. Mark taken by Lambert. He kicks it around the members' wing to Castagna.
Castagna's able to mark on his chest, just inside the boundary. Trots back beneath our broadcast position. Kicks inside the right forward pocket. He wants Riewoldt, who flew, couldn't mark. Martin with the don't argue. Hand pass back to Prestia. Set upon immediately at right half forward. It'll be a ball up.
See, Dustin Martin in that position usually pushes off and goes. But he pushed off and gave a handball, which is not him.
Dan Curvis at the front. Won it down. Prestia. Runs straight at Main. Got it back towards Martin, and then he couldn't find anyone in yellow and black, and Maynard takes the defensive mark at fullback for the Magpies and will pop it short to Crisp.
Collingwood by 40. Crisp to the right back pocket, finds side bottom. So damaging for Collingwood in that opening half. As the youngest member of Collingwood's last premiership side, he goes short to Main. Main still deep inside defensive 50. Just a hint of uncertainty, but he plays on. He knew what he was doing. He runs away from Jack Riewoldt, and then he balks away from thin air. There was no one there, Chris. He gives to Goldsack. He's got pressure. Gave it back to Main to side. They work it well by hand to Crisp, and now they're out. Adams through the middle. Carries the footy. Kicks to De Goey. Slides in, can't mark. Rance collects on defensive 50. Sweeps the hand pass out to Broad at left half back.
So Broad to Graham. Run down by Hoskin Elliott. Sockering. Comes towards Broad again on the logo. No one could mark. Socket off the ground by Conker. Towards left half forward. Edwards couldn't gather. Trying to get there. Howe over Rennet. Riewoldt. Clever hand pass onto Prestia. Run down. Got a hand pass away. Main's there for the Magpies. Finds side bottom. Hand passes again to Howe. Clearing kick in the middle of the ground. There's 3 Tigers there, and Rance with the defensive mark.
He wanted to wheel and go. Had no one to kick to members' wing. A defensive hand pass to Ashby now to Flostone. He takes his time. Sends a wobbler inside 50. Edwards up. Not quite the mark. At ground level, Caddy gets it. Works his way to his right boot. Kicks to full forward. Martin.
A free kick.
He pushed out Goldsack. And he's just been told. Dusty's in disbelief. And the Collingwood fans down at the city end, they let him know all about it. Goldsack clears to half-back. Mason Cox! Oh, this is the American dream, all right. He's taken 9 marks for Collingwood. He's got it at left half-back.
He sends it looking for Grundy. Doesn't find him, though. Coming the opposite direction, Grimes. Hand passed it back to Short. Moved it to Conker. Now to Rance for the Tigers. The Vlostone under pressure. Gets a hand pass forward to Grigg. On centre wing for Richmond. Not a great hand pass. Conker is able to gather. Broke the attempted tackle of Phillips. Kicked around the body to Prestia at right half forward. Spears it inside or to the top of the forward 50. Caddy marks. He elects to play on by hand. To Hawley. Runs the 50 out. Elects to go himself. Up towards left full forward. He carries the pack there and through for a minor score. Richmond 4-9-33. They trailed Collingwood 11-6-72. 11 gone third term.
Tigers have got more life. You can see that. They've got more life, but they just haven't been accurate with their kicking yet.
Out of the back pocket to Crisp, who plays on. He takes on the man on the mark, Lambert, and he kicks Collingwood to the wing. Grundy nudged under the ball by Rance. A blatant free kick. Rance is frustrated.
He's had a tough night, Rance. He's been moved off to Goey. Rance is playing up the ground a little bit more. Grimes has gone back playing the last line on to Goey.
Grundy short to Treloar. He kicks to centre half back, and Jack Crisp, yet another possession. Wants to play on. Short one to Main. Main on the edge of the square for Collingwood. Looks out towards the southern wing. Kick goes in the ace direction. Takes the mark and he works it further afield. Collingwood's got the free man. Side bottom. Danger times Richmond.
Side bottom towards right half forward. No mark taken. Onto it quickly. Stevenson, the rising star, was able to shovel a hand pass out. Good defence from the Tigers this time. They lock it up deep in the right forward pocket. Hoskin, Elliott, the Magpie underneath a couple of them. Ball up the call. Pendlebury's going to do the ruck work here up against Grigg, and it's Grigg that won it down. Side bottom gets there first, but can only take it back over the boundary line for a throw-in. Oh, deliberate the call, making an effort to keep it in. Free kick to Richmond. Thought that might have been a bit tough. Prestia plays on with the free kick towards left half back. Rivok tried to work it down the boundary, and just as it was about to come back into play, the officials say it's over. Boundary throwing left half back for the Tigers. They trail by 39 points, 13 minutes gone in the third term. Grandstand AFL at the first preliminary final.
Tigers have kicked 2 goals to 1 in this third term. Grundy knocked it down. Graham Roves, hand pass around the boundary to Lambert. Lambert kicks it around the southern wing. It bounces in front of Caddy and Ace. It was over the boundary line when it did so. Free kick, Collingwood out on the full. James Ace goes short. Who is playing on side bottom? He marks with
no one.
No one within 10 metres of him, Sellers.
Well, that's right.
24th possession. There's a kick to the half-forward flank. Myercheck there. Contesting. Rove by Rance. He's tackled. His hand pass is pinched by Treloar. A high tackle in all of that. A Richmond free kick. It will go the way of Alex Rance at left half-back.
To Rance. Steers it to short inside his defensive 50. And pops it for Hawley, who leads back towards his own goal square. Pauses for a moment. Moves it short once more. To Rance. Oh, ugly kick, but it worked out okay. Beyond defensive 50 to Grimes. Just carried over to Goey. It went to the 2 that he was looking for. Grimes runs towards the boundary. Kicks towards the wing. No mark taken. Edwards got hands to it. Spilled between him, though. Maynard tried to gather. Knocked forward, though, by Martin. Or pinballing around. Martin with a second opportunity. It's back towards the boundary line. Unable to keep the Higgins hand pass in was McIntosh. But the Tigers do have at least a stoppage with a throw-in at right half forward. Still Collingwood by 39 points. 15 gone third term.
No significant break in the game. 53 in the second term. Grundy down to Treloar. The kick towards the middle intercepted by Hawley of Richmond. Collingwood 11-6-72. Richmond 4-9-33. 14-minute mark third term. Rewalt on the lead. Goes up in the pack. Brings it to ground. Rove by Crisp. Hand pass to side bottom. Creative by hand under pressure to Main. Main kicks to the middle of the ground. Varco marks. Thomas breaks for him. Varco sees him. Goes short. Thomas takes the mark. Late contact from Rance. Insignificant.
Smart. Stopped him.
Thomas kicks inside the 50. De Goey's on the lead out wide. It dribbles out of play. A throw in at right half forward for Collingwood. The Pies going to the punt road end in this third term and leading the game by 39.
Mason Cox is on the bench. They didn't have a target, tall target forward. That's why they went wide to De Goey, leading towards the boundary line.
They should test Grimes on De Goey and see how strong he is.
Grundy. It's a beautiful tap. down towards side bottom from 50 out. He'll kick towards full forward to Goey front position. Travelled over the back of him and Grimes. Mycheck right there. He gathers. He snaps. He goals. He gets his seconds. Collingwood had their 12th. A mistake at the last line of defence from the Tigers, and Mycheck was there to pounce. 12-6-78. Richmond 4-9-33. 16 gone in the third term.
He's a beautiful player, is the captain. The captain of the Collingwood football side. He is just sensational, Pendlebury, when he gets the ball in hand. He just cruises by. You don't even think he's moving at all. And all of a sudden it's in that spot up forward. A high kick in, tests the opposition. They fail again. They lose their feet. And then it's over. Over and out. And that was Asprey again, who fell over in the goal square. And Mycheck just finishes it off. This is a poor display by the Tigers. Really poor.
Cox has gone into the ruck at post to Nankervis. Nankervis wins it down, goes after his own ball. Hand pass off the back of the square to Hawley. He kicks to half forward up in front. Unable to take the mark is Lambert. Knocked out the side by Rioli to McIntosh. Back to Rioli. He's caught by Ace. He's gone. Bit of his own medicine there, Dan Rioli. Ace chips wide. Howe had to wait. McIntosh the spoil. Can he keep it in? No, he sees it over. Between wing and half forward for Richmond.
Great bit of play by McIntosh there to work hard over to bring that ball to the ground and get it out of bounds.
Boundary umpire throws it back in. Nankervis front position down to Koch and tackled by Cox, but got a hand pass out to Grigg. Kicks long inside the forward 50. Three Magpies was there, and that was courage by Langdon.
Ran with the fly of the ball back into the pack. Incredible mark.
Terrific stuff. Kicks beyond defensive 50. He wanted Mason Cox in a line of four. Brings it to ground. Treloar tried to hand pass back to himself. Slid down. Had it stolen away by Grigg for Richmond. Kick towards right half forward. The boundary line sees the ball tumble over it for a throw-in about 52 out from Richmond's attacking goal. Collingwood by 45 points. 18 gone in the third term.
They've increased their lead.
Sport can sometimes throw up the unpredictable. We've certainly seen that tonight. From the stoppage, little underground hand pass out of the pack, creative from Prestia, but Cochin's unable to find a teammate. Gave it to Pendlebury, kicks to the middle. Rance peels off. Hoskin Elliott takes a strong mark in the middle. Let's go down to Tim Hodges on the boundary.
This is a concern for the Magpies. Jordan De Goey came off the ground and spoke to the doctor and went straight down to the rooms. You might remember at the start of last week's semi-final, he rolled his ankle early in the match, but he has gone down to the room, so a concern there.
Main has it deep in the left back pocket for the Magpies. Beyond defensive 50. Mycheck had to wait. Had a second go at it too. Got wrapped up in a tackle. Nicely worked then by Conker. He'll come back and he's winning the free kick. Plays on to Hooley, who runs behind him. Puts Richmond towards full forward. Massive pack up. Reebok got a hand to it. Spilled out towards Lambert. Rioli overran it. Trying to barge his way through. That was Goldseck. Spilled out again. Now to Treloar. Hand pass missed its target in Phillips. Side there, stolen by Higgins, snapped around the body. Treloar had the ball over his left shoulder. He thought he'd taken the mark. Umpire thought differently. Was held to him. It'll be ball up at right full forward as far as the Tigers are concerned. They trail by 45 points, Richmond, as we head towards time on in the third term.
Up it goes. Cox and Rewell. Cox the win through the legs of Treloar. Knocked out the side by Phillips towards the boundary. Caddy got it. Jams it on his right boot, kicks it out on the full in the right forward pocket.
He tried to kick a check side there, Caddy. It's going against the grain of what Richmond have done for most of the year. Inside 50s this quarter, Richmond 10, Collingwood 7. So the game has been played a hell of a lot more in their half, the Tigers. At least they're giving themselves an opportunity, albeit not getting the reward on the scoreboard yet.
In time, Knight feels like it's gone against the Richmond grain. Sully. Main to the back pocket to Howe. Howe, beautiful out to the southern wing. Side bottom marks on his chest. They have not gone near still side bottom. Maybe they can't keep up with him. Defensive side of the southern wing he's told to play on. Hand pass to Howe. Howe will be caught from behind. Run down tackle and Howe is hurt. Howe is holding his left leg. Rioli got him. Howe is hobbling. He's up on his feet. Might have just got a knock, but Rioli's free kick centre of the southern wing.
Rioli takes a couple of steps forward, puts it deep into the left forward pocket. Revolt was there, couldn't mark. Pendlebury at the back, gathers for the Magpies. Hand pass straight into Rioli. He had to slap it back. Side bottom has it again. Disposal 26 for him. Back to Crisp. Has to kick into space in the left back pocket. The ball bounces. Grigg should get to it first. Phillips right with him. Tackles him over the boundary line. Nicely worked. It'll be a throw in at right half forward as far as Richmond is concerned. Like the left ankle, was it? Of Howe. Seemed to just twist on him as he was in the contest a short time ago. One down by Grundy. Tigers kick it up into the air towards full forward. Main tried to punch it away. Barco met it at pace, coming in the opposite direction to Crisp. Then to Phillips, who finds Adams, who marks, going down onto one knee at left half back. Collingwood by 45.
He kicks towards the members' wing. Trelaw the target, easy pickings. The spoil made by Conker. Out of play.
The Tigers don't look good. The heads are starting to fall. They're just in a bit of pain at the moment. They know that this is a long road to get home from here.
It's been a long season in which they have been superb, the Tigers, but they've been off their best tonight. Sire to Adams. Hand pass to Pendlebury. He hand passed out into space as he was about to be tackled. Flostone got it for Richmond. Gave to Rioli. Now to Cochin. Through the middle he comes. Hand pass away to Graham. Graham kicks the Tigers in the Riewoldt direction. 1-on-1. He edged out Goldsack. Went one-handed, couldn't mark. Caddy there for Sport. He wheels around and finds Hawley. 45 from goal directly in front.
That's typical Richmond play. Their pressure, turnover, and then their gut running forward in waves. I think that's about the first time we've seen that type of play, a characteristic play from Richmond tonight.
He was a hero on grand final day last year, Basher Hawley. It's going to take something heroic from him and Richmond from here. 50 out, kick on its way, looks straight. Has it got the carry? It's there. Basher Hawley gets Richmond back within 39 points at the 23-minute mark of the third. Collingwood 12-6-78, Richmond 5-9-39. Mark McClure, Brad Sewell, where does Richmond need to be at three-quarter time to be a chance?
Al, they are one of the fastest finishing sides in the competition. We know that they can score so heavily, so very quickly. I think within 5 goals, they're a chance. Sellers?
Yeah, well, they're 39 behind now, so that's six and a half, okay? So they need to get another one or two before the end of this break, before the break comes.
Since 2006, only one minor premier has not made the grand final. That was Fremantle in 2015, but that fate is staring Richmond at the moment. As the ball comes out from the centre bounce to Adams, spears it inside forward 50. No mark taken. Stevenson's there, the rising star. Gets a hand pass back that's picked up by Pendlebury. Pops it back to Stevenson in the right forward pocket. To Varco. Goes looking for Mason Cox. Couldn't quite find him. The ball's bouncing through. I think it was touched. Diving out, Mychek might have got the touch on it. It's through for a minor score. And Howe coming off the ground for the Magpies. Collingwood lead 40 points, 25 gone third term.
News from the boundary, Tim Hodges.
Well, Jordan DeGoey is back from the rooms and looks like he's ready to come back on the ground. But just as he emerged from the rooms, Jeremy Howe came off the ground. It was from that incident across the other side of the ground. It's a left ankle. He spoke to the doctor and he too has gone down to the room. So DeGoey back, but Howe has gone to the rooms.
From the kick in, Richmond lost it. Greenwood marks and it back inside the 50. Clearing it out of the back line for Richmond was Graham. Higgins gets hold of it. High kick to the wing. Ashbury back with a flight. Oh, there we go. There's a moment for a man who's been well down tonight. Gave to Martin. Kick inside 50. Riewoldt back with a flight. Takes the mark. He's 42 from goal. 45-degree angle to the right. He's looking to pass, but Jack needs to go back and kick the goal for Richmond.
Watch Mason Cox here trying to work down the ground so he can stand the mark. He's done this fantastically well all night.
You want to be careful he doesn't get in the 5-metre rule.
He's working hard. Is he going to make it? He comes across to stand now next to Tyson Goldsack and take over the duties. Riewoldt's got 3. He's got 4. And maybe, just maybe, Richmond's got hope. This is some performance from Jack Riewoldt in a team that has been well down. Collingwood 12-7-79, Richmond 6-9-45, 26-minute mark, third term, Grandstand AFL.
They've peeled it back to 34 points to go. And all of a sudden, there's a bit of a pulse here. They've got some clean ball coming forward. Jack's starting to get control up in the forward half with 4 goals and 4 really good ones. I really like what he's doing down there. And on Goldsack, who's probably running out a little bit of juice at this stage after his second game at this stage. They still have a chance. They need 1 more or 2 more in this quarter.
Grundy wins it down. Oh, Cochin bursting through. Has it for the Tigers. Sends it to full forward. Riewoldt goes to ground ball. Still bouncing. Almost the miraculous, is it? Higgins. He tried to throw it on the boots. Right on the goal line.
What's your call?
No, I don't think he. I think he carried it over the line.
Yeah,
and fell
I
on his
don't think
boot.
he was able to pull himself up inside.
He had a chance.
No, he missed it.
He's missed it. That would have been spectacular. Tried to throw it on the boot. He's actually just missed it, but he had, half a metre to work with.
Now, there are fireworks going off over the back of the MCG here, Clint, because Melbourne Storm have just won, so purple fireworks.
There's been fireworks happening here all evening as we wait to see another replay. I'm unconvinced he got boot to that before it crossed the line. It's actually hit him below the shin afterwards as well.
That may not even make any difference. You know that. They never get these right all the time.
That's a very good point. It's a behind. It was almost spectacular. We know Higgins can do that. Not to be, though. Collingwood's lead down to 33 points, 27 gone in the third term.
Quickly brought back into play by the Pies. Maynard as the fireworks continue. The Storm beat Cronulla 22-6 to make the grand final. Adams had it at half back, but he gave it straight to Nankervis. He's tackled over the boundary line by Phillips. It'll be thrown in 65 metres from the Richmond goal down at the city end. Now, there's more energy about Richmond. There's more energy among the crowd in the Richmond areas of the ground. Thrown back in. Grundy knocked it down. It ricochets though to Rioli, who gave to Cochin. Can he lift his team? He gives to Grigg. Grigg tumble punt towards the 50. Bouncing ball over the head of Riewoldt. Prestia rises, knocks it out towards Edwards. Taken by Ace, tackled by Edwards. Ball locked in. Is there effort being made? Umpire says mine. A ball up 45 metres from the Tigers' goal. Collingwood 12-7-79. Richmond 6-10-46. 28 played. Third term. Up it goes. It rumbles forward. Coming out to meet it, Asprey's gone forward. Can he do something? No, couldn't find a target. Langdon got it, gave to Adams. Fortuitous kick ends up with Sire. At half-back, his hand pass hits the deck, cleaned up by Phillips. Kicks to the members' wing. Mychek one-on-one with Flostone. It gets to the back. Conker comes through, takes it. He's taken by Mychek. Got a hand pass to Flostone. Runs into Cox. He's done everything. Ball spills out towards the boundary line. Throw in. Mason Cox. He's a mountain of a man, and he's had a mountainous performance at the MCG tonight in a big final.
He's been a monster for Collingwood. Grundy got fingertips to it, went behind him, Rioli. Lovely hand pass on to Cochin, turns it straight over.
Collingwood are getting exposed at these midfield stoppages at the moment. They're getting caught with plenty of space out of the back lane. Richmond to transfer the ball through a dangerous space going forward.
It was Langdon who took the intercept mark, and he found Adams left half back, and now to Grundy at full stretch on centre wing. Commentary side.
Grimes and De Goey, the deepest pair for Collingwood.
So Grundy, the right sock up, the left sock down. Kicks to left half forward, pack of 5 up. No one takes the mark. Penalty look to work it on. Stevenson sockers it towards full forward. Coming out, trying to get there to go. He gave it back to Thomas. Tackled by Rioli. Got the hand pass away as the siren sounded. 33 points is the margin. Richmond will have to do something truly special if they're a chance of defending their premiership. It's Collingwood 12-7-79 to Richmond 6-10-46 at three-quarter time in the first preliminary final.
The goal kickers for Collingwood. De Goey 4, 3 to Cox, 2 to Mychek, 2 to Crisp, and a single goal to Travis Varco. While for Richmond, Jack Riewoldt has kicked 4 of their 6 goals to three-quarter time, the Tigers. Hooley's got 1 and Higgins has got 1. So 33 points is the Collingwood lead. at three-quarter time in round 6. Richmond kicked 8 goals to 3 in the final term against Collingwood. In round 19, Richmond kicked 5 goals to 1 in the final term against Collingwood. Can they muster one last special effort, Richmond? Or is their premiership defence going to end here at the MCG tonight? Grandstand AFL, the first preliminary final, coming your way on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and Grandstand Digital.
Whatever your thing is, we're in sync with you. Customise your news stories to read about what matters to you.
I don't know, I'm really into sport. I find that really interesting.
Good content, good journalism.
Oh, international news.
I think entertainment and arts.
I don't know, like inspiring stories.
Do your thing differently and we'll be in sync with you. The new ABC app, free to download today.
Grandstand AFL. Grandstand AFL. You're with Grandstand, the first preliminary final. AFL. Live from the MCG.
Sockers towards centre half forward. Castagna marks, spears it inside forward 50 to Revolt, who must go back and kick the goal.
They need to get in within 20 to 24 points at three-quarter time and make the opposition nervous. This will be the start of it.
Will kick from 50 out. Revolt, he needs this to give the Tigers any hope, and he does. The start they desperately required.
There's a pulse. Most importantly, after that goal, there was genuine emotion, passion. There was feeling from the Tigers.
Sends it towards full forward. No one marks it. The back to Goey. He dribbles it along the ground. He's got 4. It's September. It's Magpie season. He'll kick towards full forward to Goey, front position. Travelled over the back of him and Grimes. Mycheck right there. He gathers. He snaps. He goes.
Caddy there for Sport. He wheels around and finds Hawley, 45 from goal, directly in front.
I think that's about the first time we've seen that type of play, a characteristic play from Richmond tonight.
50 out, kick on its way, looks straight, has it got the carry, it's there. Basher Hawley gets Richmond back within 39 points. Gave to Martin, kick inside 50, Rewalt back with a flight, takes the mark, he's 42 from goal. Rewalt's got 3, he's got 4. And maybe, just maybe, Richmond's got hope.
Grandstand AFL.
The 2018 AFL Final Series.
On ABC Radio and on Grandstand Digital.
Three-quarter time in the prelim. Collingwood 12-7-79. Richmond, the premiers of last year, 6-10-46, requiring a miracle comeback in the final term. The biggest margin in the game was 53 points when Jordan De Goey goaled at the 23-minute mark of the second term. As it stands at the moment, 33 points. And looking out the window, there's a think tank session going on. Damien Hardwick pensively looking over the boards with his assistant coaches trying to come up with something that will produce a miracle. Brad Sewell and Mark McClure are your experts on Grandstand AFL.
Well, sillier things have happened in this game. They can find something at some stage. They haven't lost talent. They've just lost their confidence at some stage of this game, at the start of it to now. That's their best quarter with 4 goals. But can they kick 5 or 6 to power over the top of these blokes?
They certainly can. Whether they will or not is another question. Richmond, I mean, the most dangerous aspect about a side like Richmond is when they play with gay abandon, when they recognise that they've got nothing to lose, when they realise that this is all or nothing. And that's exactly what Dimmer's going to be telling his players right now. Play on every opportunity, move the ball quickly, give your forwards a chance, get it into space, run forward to the ball. Because that's their only option. They can't play any other way than to be completely balls out and have a complete crack at it.
And Collingwood can't go defensive.
They can't.
They need to put the next goal on.
It's a dangerous.
And then you've got to put the next goal on. You've got to put your foot on their throat and squeeze them, and then squeeze the life out of them. And that's what they need to do early. Put 3 on them early and finish the game off.
And this is what tests the nerve of Buckley and the Collingwood players, because they can't afford to play safe.
No.
They have to keep scoring goals. They have to keep moving the ball forward. They have to keep taking risks. And Richmond, the most exciting part about this last quarter is they have got absolutely no choice. They have to run and gun the ball through the midfield as much as they can through the middle part of the ground. They have to take risks. They have to move the ball quickly to give the likes of Jack Rewalt a chance Dustin Martin looks like he's starting in the middle of the ground.
About time.
They need to get some impact from him in the forward half of the ground. He's had 17 disposals. He's had 17 disposals, 8 contested possessions, 4 inside 50s. But you wouldn't have known he's out there.
No.
He hasn't had his usual impact.
Well, he doesn't
He's been
run.
fleeting at times. He hasn't had his impact. He needs to start getting his hands on the ball forward of the centre.
So they've changed things up here. Jack Riewoldt has played almost entirely this season as the key focal point in the forward line. David Asprey, having no impact in defence, is going to start this last quarter as a key forward.
He was there last quarter as well.
Yeah, back end of it, wasn't he? Collingwood 12-7-79, Richmond 6-10-46. Prelims have a habit of producing thrilling finishes. Can Richmond manufacture something to keep its premiership defence alive? We're underway in the final term. Nankervis knocked it down. Edwards hand pass over his shoulder. Again created to Nankervis, who got it to Lambert. Floats a kick inside the 50. Goldsack intercepts for Collingwood. 35 from the defensive goal at the punt road end. He goes to half back. Oh, that's a very strong mark. Side bottom's been superb. He's got it at left half back for the Pies.
This will be disposal 28 for Steele side bottom. Sends it to the southern wing. Flying up was Rance, got a fist of the football. Chasing it down, Graham gathers for the Tigers. It's a 2-on-2 inside Richmond's forward 50.
Oh, Mark.
Great mark. Not paid.
No, he paid it.
He has paid it.
He paid it.
It took a while. Riewoldt, he was back at full stretch and it hurt him too in the contest. Had eyes for the football high up above his head.
He's just landed and knocked the wind out of himself.
Has just landed high up on the right glute. It was a solid contact on the deck, but yes, he had enough of the football and he's still down.
I reckon he's getting some air in now, just. It's not a good feeling when you get winded like that. But now he's got to finish this off. It's okay to be hurt, think you're hurt. He got up really quickly. He's walked back briskly. He's only got a matter of time. There's 24 seconds, 23 seconds left on the clock for him to go. They gave him some time to get up off the ground, and he should slot this to start them off.
It could be the jolts to the Tigers faithful that they need. He has 4 goals tonight. Jack Riewoldt from right in front, from 30 outs. Those in yellow and black, they rise to their feet. There's life in the Tigers yet. Collingwood's lead cut to 27 points in the first 2 minutes of the final term. 12-7-79, Richmond 7-10-52. And will this create some nerves amongst the Magpies?
So that is now Jack Riewoldt's best ever haul in a final. 5 goals for the first time. And with that goal, he goes to 607 career goals, equaling in 4th position for Richmond with Michael Roach on the overall goals kicked for the Tigers. So Titus Richardson and Kevin Bartlett ahead of him. But what an inspired performance from Jack Riewoldt tonight, and a team that has battled for much of it. Nankervis out of the middle. Grundy got it, his hand pass almost pinched by Hooley. Picked up by Myercheck. He has a fumble. Support from Pendlebury. Got it to side bottom. 3-metre kick through a pack to Myercheck. To Trelawney's hand pass pinched. Taken by Lambert. Away to Cochin. Through the middle come the Tigers. Awkward left foot kick out towards the half-forward flank. Coming to meet at Asprey. One way, then the other. Hand pass to McIntosh near the boundary line. He floats it back towards Asprey. Gathers on the bounce, slipped over. He'll be caught. Got it out the side. Trelaw pinched it. Defensive hand pass to side bottom. At right half back, he kicks Collingwood to the wing. Broad has to go. Flostone as well. He punches it into the roof of the Collingwood interchange. Magpies leading by 27 points, early stages of the final term. Biggest lead of the game Collingwood's way was 53 in the second quarter.
Richmond, though, have kicked the pass 3. Put back into play. Grundy with the more telling tap, but it's spilled down to Prestia. Ugly kick high up in the air. They converge, no mark taken. Adams, or Thomas rather, going through, couldn't mop it up. Castagna got it to Graham. Kick went more up in the air than forward. Trying to leap up, Grigg tapped it back to Castagna once more. Lambert's on his own inside forward 50.
He dropped
the mark. He should have swallowed it. Still a chance for him. Langdon got in the way though. Got it away from Higgins. He shares it with a couple of teammates, though. Langdon's kick was not great, and then Lambert can't take it a second time and sees it over the boundary line for a throw-in. It's about 60 out from Richmond's goal, but he should have had that. Kane Lambert should have swallowed it inside forward 50. Collingwood by 27.
These minutes, the critical phase in the matches in round 6 and round 19. Richmond in the last quarter, 3 goals in 8 minutes to start the last in round 6, 3 goals in 5 minutes in round 19 to start the last. Collingwood at the moment in possession, side bottom, off half-back, kicks to the wing, to a 2-on-1 favouring Richmond, brought to ground by Rance. Edwards kicked towards the 50, intercepted by Main of Collingwood. He's at left half-back, southern side of the MCG.
I can't tighten up here, Pies. I need to continue taking risks.
He plays on. He's not certain. He kicks towards Greenwood. Riewoldt lurking. Got a spoil. Greenwood couldn't mark. It spills to Riewoldt. Tackled by Greenwood. Trying to get it out but can't. A ball up and a big win for Richmond. Jack Riewoldt involved again. It's at centre-half forward for the Tigers. 50 from goal.
You can see the Pies tightening up. Tigers are energised.
Grundy won it down straight to Pendlebury. Strongly tackled by Nankervis. There's a ball up at the top of the 50 for the Tigers. Grundy again, down low to Martin. His kick was into traffic. Scooped upon Prestia. He's well tackled by Sidebottom, who has been outstanding. 31 disposals and now a second tackle for him. Another ball up inside Richmond's forward 50. Nankervis got it down. Lambert, can he make amends? Kicks towards full forward. Riewoldt. No, not to be.
Wow. That was close.
Asprey, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Deep in the left forward pocket. Couldn't quite take the mark. It spills the ground and then over for a boundary throw in at left full forward.
The Tigers are definitely coming here. This is possible. 27 points, the Collingwood lead. Back towards the boundary line. Edwards can't quite keep it in. Another throw in. 25 metres from the Richmond goal at the Punt Road end. Their fans can sense something now. After sitting in stunned silence for much of the occasion. Grundy comes to it, knocked it down. Pendlebury gets it. Clearing kick towards the wing. Hoskin Elliott rises, punches it down. Taken by Cox. He's roving now. Hand pass no good. Taken by Broad. Defensive hand pass to Grimes for Richmond. Away to Rance, the centre half back. He sweeps a hand pass to Short. Through the corridor to Hawley. He gives it off to Rance. Rance looks out wide initially. Gives a hand pass to Rioli. Measures his kick down low. Had to be taken on the bounce. Edwards to Martin, his hand pass straight into Adams. He knocked it out towards Treloar, socket by Hawley. Castagna comes to meet it, can't pick up. Higgins can take it high. Gave to Riewoldt, Riewoldt tackled. It is a high free kick, a Richmond free kick. 20 metres out directly in front. What a moment this is in the game. Jack Higgins.
That's tremendous work by the defence. The quick handballs through the middle of the ground that created that forward play, and then Higgins, who got hit high, he ducked his legs. Nothing in it really.
Not much in that.
He's kicked one. Higgins has kicked. Richmond fans, they're alive. Their team's alive. The margin's back to 21. 7-minute mark, final term, grandstand AFL. Here come the Tigers. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Well, it's a defining moment for the Magpies medical staff. Jeremy Howe they've been working on for 7.5 minutes. I think they would have preferred not to put him out there, but they just had to roll the dice. And after that goal, they've got him up off the bench and sent him out into the back line.
Under 4 goals, that's doable. Don't worry about that, and they're charging. And the Pies are starting to retreat. They need to get a goal. They need to get it in their hands and push it forward as quick as they can and hold it inside 50, or else they're in trouble.
Nail-biting minutes coming up for Magpie fans. Grundy wins the tap. Down towards Sire. Couldn't take it. Lambert. Oh, clever hand pass. Worked it on towards Prestia. Kicked towards right half forward. Grigg got there first. Pressure came. Thomas was there. Magpies could mop up. Though Main might have been taken high, and it turns it over Rioli. Quick hand pass to Short. It was a high call. It'll come back to the Magpies. It was against Grigg and Chris Main. He has it at left half back. And he'll take the free kick and try to soak up a few seconds.
Nearly 9 minutes into this last quarter, and Collingwood are yet to get the ball inside their forward 50. It's 5-0. Richmond's favour.
Main to Crisp, to Howard, full back out wide to the right back pocket to Grundy. Grundy short to Stevenson.
You can see their statement here, the Pies.
Yeah, they're slowing it down.
They're waiting for Mason Cox to get over. Mason Cox is spent. He's worked extra miles to get to man every mark when they've had set shots, the Tigers.
To borrow a famous football phrase, it's time to not to think but do for Collingwood. As Richmond come forward again, Rioli punches it. Howe in the way, gave the penalty hand pass, put Crisp under the pump, did brilliantly to work a defensive hand pass to Maynard, and he bullets a pass to centre half back to Sidebottom.
Sidebottom would have rolled here in the first three quarters. He's just happy to hold on to the ball and control it.
To Main, to Langdon.
That also means that allows time for the Tigers to get across the ground and set up defensively.
He has it about a metre in from the boundary at left half back. Gets told to move on and gets plenty of advice from the Tigers in the crowd. Kick the wood down aside. Mason Cox.
Superstar.
He's been a behemoth this evening.
He gets up nodding his head too. He likes it.
Do everything, the American. Kicks into the left forward pocket. He wanted Myercheck. He couldn't mark. It's off hands and over for a boundary throw-in. 51 out from Collingwood's goal. How many marks has he taken tonight?
And they've all been big.
They've been as big as he has. 3 goals to his name as well. Ball back into play. And he got the tap to it, and then Curtis turned around and gets a hurry kick away for the Tigers. Henry slaps it inside forward 50 to Goey. He gathers. He got around one. Got the kick on towards Chalor. He'll snap. That's the one the Magpies needs. You can see the relief among the Collingwood fans and players alike. They hit back to put their lead out to 27 points. 11 minutes gone in the final term. Collingwood 13-7-85. Richmond 8-10-58 on Grandstand AFL.
These are the moments Treloar left the Giants to get to Collingwood. He wanted to play on this stage. He wanted to play in these big games for a big club. That was a clutch goal for the Pies. De Goey, industrious, in and around that stoppage, got the ball forward. It fell into Treloar's laps, who turned around and snapped Truly off his left one step. A critical goal just to give them some more breathing space, the Pies.
And Mason Cox having a real hand in it as well. Grundy out of the middle to side, back to Grundy. He's tackled, got a high kick out towards the wing. Phillips opposed to McIntosh. They contest. It's brought to ground level. Hoskin Elliott got it. Gave to Phillips. Dribbles a kick towards half forward. Short comes out, gathers down low. He dribbles a kick out of there. Back to Hoskin Elliott. Hand pass to Phillips. Kicks to De Goey on the lead with a couple to beat. Broad back. Launched himself in the air. Got clattered into. Spun a 360. He's hurt, but made the spoil courageously. Out of play, 45 from goal.
De Goey attracted a few Tigers there. They all came rushing because they know how powerful he is.
Ball back into play. Nankervis palmed it down. Main tried to get to it, couldn't. Phillips gets a hurried kick into the right forward pocket. Getting there first will be Short, who's taking the ball over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Still plenty of time left in this game. Do not think that the Pies are home yet.
They lead by 27. 12 and a bit gone in the final term. Ball spun in again. Grundy and Nankervis both had a tap. It came out towards Adams. One of them taken high, and he was by Cochin. And he'll have the ball at right half forward for the Magpies. Busy tonight with 30 disposals. He'll send it towards the teeth of goal. Big pack up. Coxlew again, not this time. Spill down to Prestia for Richmond. Got a hand pass to Conker. Hand pass intercepted. Phillips couldn't believe his luck. He snapped quickly towards goal. Cox tried to keep it in right up against the left hand behind post, and he's been able to do it as well. It's going to be a throw-in.
Hey, sure, his footy now is pretty good, isn't it? When you think about it, it's incredible for a bloke who's never been brought up on this game.
Yeah. He thinks he's playing in a playoff, Sellers. He doesn't know what this
this is a playoff,
paper
mate.
is all about.
It's all over if you lose.
27 points is the Collingwood lead. Grundy down, gathers goals! Another big goal for Brodie Grundy against Richmond on a Friday night. That might just be the sealer that sends Collingwood grand final bound and Richmond, the reigning champions, to the scrap heap. Collingwood 14-7-91. Richmond 8:10:58. 14-minute mark, final term. Brodie Grundy, brilliant.
They're home. Don't worry about that, Pies. Put your cue in the rack. Richmond, they're done. They are home. If they get beaten from here, they don't deserve to go to grand final day. Grundy's been sensational in the ruck. He's been terrific, been brilliant, and that's a great finish for him. And as they were challenged early in this quarter, they responded with 2 goals. One to Treloar and then one to Grundy, and she's over.
So they follow in the footsteps of sides finishing 13th and making a grand final the following season as Hawley gathers on the logo commentary side for Richmond, kicks towards left half forward. Maynard got there first, worked it out to side bottom, and now to Adams. They've both been busy tonight. Kicks down the line. Good Shepherd came the way of Varco, picked up by Thomas, hands it back to Varco. A little 1-2, and then Thomas sends it inside forward 50. Mason Cox is up, couldn't mark this one. Umpire spotted a free kick. It'll come back to the Tigers. It's going the way of Rance, and he'll hand it off to Cochin from fullback. And that's a dangerous kick. Lambert couldn't quite get there. The spoil came from Chris. Ball still there to be won in the left forward pocket. Looking to pick it up. Oh, Caddy first time missed it. Second time headed straight towards the boundary line. Eventually, Rance gets the kick away. Got upended after we got the kick away, but he put it out of bounds on the full. And the Magpies will have the free kick at left half forward.
Ace. Well, he's being told to give the ball to the boundary umpire, so it's clearly taken a hand on the way through. A throw-in. 52 from goal. Ace was setting himself to send Collingwood forward again. The boundary ump came across and said, I'll have that. Grigg up in ruck. Palms it out wide. Taken by Cochin. Throws it on the boot as he was tackled. Green was in the way. Controlled it. Ran into Rioli, who stripped him one-on-one, then lost possession himself. Grundy to side bottom by hand to Treloar. Away to Crisp. Kicks Collingwood to half forward. Turned it over. Mark taken by Prestia. He's on the skids like he's got roller skates on. It is slippery out there. Prestia kicks towards the southern wing. That's a horrendous kick. Straight to Langdon. He marks on the edge of the square.
It's almost hit and hope, isn't it?
Oh, it has to be. They have to bring the ball inside. He needs his Richmond teammates to get in there and swarm that dangerous area.
Yeah, but they've stopped running. They've stopped the movement now.
Side bottom, about to bring up disposal 35, and he does so by passing it to Treloar, and now he'll take a mark.
I don't think they watched last week. He was best on the ground by a mile against GWS, and they let him out again this week. Ridiculous.
He won't get the same luxury next week.
Disposal 36 at 86% efficiency as Mason Cox. He takes another mark.
Is that 12 or 11?
That's 11, I think. 11 for him.
Surely he's not going to go back from 55 and slot it.
He's a man to one.
Well, he can do anything tonight. 3 goals, 1. 13 disposals, 11 marks, 10 contested possessions. He'll put it towards left full forward. Couple of big flies, no mark taken. McIntosh, ugly, tries to hurry it, goes towards the boundary line. This will be interesting. Deliberate. Maynard to take the free kick. He's got it at right half forward.
Cox.
Not going again for him, are they?
Why wouldn't you? Back to full forward. He's involved again in that pack. Couldn't take the mark. Spilled down. Grimes kicks it straight up in the air. Mason Cox is there again. Punched it back to Grimes, though, this time. To Cochin for the Tigers. Anywhere will do. Beyond defensive 50. Martin takes the mark.
Well, there were discussions around the possibility of kidnapping plots during the week. Collingwood has completely taken Richmond hostage as Adams peels off and smashes Graham and wins a holding the ball decision.
Had a big game as well in the midfield.
Adams, centre of the members' wing. Collingwood's headed to a grand final. He kicks the half forward. Grundy up, takes the mark. De Goey's the deep target. Grundy takes his time. De Goey leads. That's ignored. There's one on over the back. But he elects not to kick to Hoskin Elliott. He goes wide to the boundary line and ace. Collingwood leading by 33 points. 19 minutes played of the last. Ace kicks around the boundary. Hoskin Elliott up, can't mark. Rode by Flostone. Hand pass out along the deck. Listen to the Collingwood fans. Conker, he's caught. He's gone as well. It's the hunting mentality that is taking Collingwood to the biggest day of the year. Greenwood's free kick.
What are you doing? Settle down. Have a ping yourself.
Greenwood, 45 metres out. He's on a tight angle to the right. Pendlebury with a few words in his ear. Greenwood sits it up unselfishly, top of the square, out they come. Unable to mark Hoskin Elliott. Hawley under pressure in the pocket, gave it to Varco. He fumbled uncharacteristically. Oh, the hand pass came out from McIntosh. He gave it to Thomas, worked the ball towards goal. It has gone very close to the left behind post.
Side bottom was
there. And he was tackled, a ball up, left forward pocket.
Grundy won it down. Sire over the top. Worked it out only as far as Edwards to land it. Now a chance for Caddy to clear towards the southern wing. Langdon got a fist to the footy. Ricocheted away. Higgins couldn't get there. Bursting through Greenwood. Kicks inside forward 50. Rance with a defensive mark. Where is the gold jacket for Joffa? It can't be far away from making an appearance. McIntosh a thumping kick, and Langdon again with another defensive mark. He's been terrific as well. 9 marks for him tonight, as then Main on the scrap heap apparently last year, and then he moves it into the left back pocket for Howe to mark.
Back to Main. Main's got Stevenson, but he goes shorter than that to Maynard in the corridor. He goes wide to Stevenson. Richmond fans are going home. And they go home in a very different mood to last year when they wanted to stay forever. Langdon from half-back to the wing. Grundy up in front, couldn't mark Flostone Roves. He gave to Hooley. Hooley's left foot kick back towards the 50. Langdon up, couldn't take the mark. It's roved at the back. There's movement in the Collingwood cheer squad as Higgins is tackled. It'll be a ball up. What have you seen, Clint Wheeldon?
The jacket's on. Collingwood.
He's a bit late, Joff.
He was. He was making absolutely
Wasn't
certain
counting
of
his
it.
chickens.
No. He was making sure as Adams tries to take it away to Treloar. Hand passing it through Pendlebury. Back to Adams. Collingwood away again. Hoskin Elliott. The ball sat up for him eventually. He found side bottom. Disposal 37. Back to Hoskin Elliott. Back to side bottom. He deserves a goal.
No.
From 45 out, he's unselfish. And marking it is the rising star. 30 from goal, 45-degree angle to the right.
I'm just looking at Buckley now. Looks like he's pulled Howe off. He was the one that they threw out there and they recognised Richmond were making a surge. Interesting to hear what Hodgie says about the treatment he gets. Whether it's his ankle, I think he says his lower leg.
19-year-old Jaden Stevenson to put a bit more icing on an already brilliant cake. It's a black and white night. Collingwood are into a grand final. Their lead now is 39 points at the 23-minute mark of the final term. 15-7-97. Richmond 8-10. 58.
Wondering what else Buckley needs to do here. Still Sidebottom's their most important player at the moment. The way he's patrolled and controlled the middle part of the ground, hasn't wasted a single disposal. He's had 38 for the night, 12 marks, 5 clearances, 7 contested possessions, 3 inside 50. He's done everything and he's just so clean. His decision making is A grade. Mason Cox is the other probably most important player for Collingwood. His night has been huge.
Out of the middle, Collingwood gets possession again. Adams to Grundy. Grundy kicks inside the 50, back with a flight. Cox being held, no free kick. Sellers, he tries to win it at ground level. Mychek crashes in. They all crash in. Collingwood couldn't get it that time. Prestia to Cochin. Hand pass away to Short at right half back. And Short from the back edge of the square. He works it wide. Prestia, they've turned it over. Or Goldsack did enough to get a hand in and dislodge. Adams now fights for it, but Prestia wins it again for Richmond. He kicks around the wing. There's a spoil made by Goldsack. What a story Collingwood is, but what a story Tyson Goldsack is. He knocks it out of play. Miraculous recovery to play in the first final. A premiership player from 2010 is headed back to the main dance. Extraordinary.
Spun in again. Nankervis takes clean possession for Richmond, puts it inside forward 50. Oh, crisp. He would have heard the footsteps too. Riewoldt coming to the football. He stood his ground and he takes the mark. Inside his defensive 50 and he moves it short to Langdon. He hands it back to the left back pocket to Crisp once more.
This is going to be the most bizarre feeling for Richmond. They are genuinely shell-shocked.
Kick towards left half back and Myercheck marks. Their run of 22 straight wins here at the G's coming to an end.
Nice. Walk away from here just scratching their heads.
They shouldn't do that. They should applaud the Pies. They've been fantastic.
Mason Cox towards the southern wing. There's a holding decision here going the way of Lostone.
Actually, the sting's gone out of this game completely.
Ugly looking kick towards right half forward. Main was underneath it. Was able to gather, then got tackled. It's been held to him by Castagna.
Take nothing away from the Pies. The Pies have been outstanding, but equally, in equal measures, Richmond have been disappointing.
Grundy palmed it down. Pendlebury kicks towards the wing. Bounced over Mason Cox. Rance takes it for Richmond. A hand pass to Edwards. Hint of a fumble. Managed to work it to short from the wing. He barrels the ball inside the 50. Riewolt's there. Can he impose? Caddy got hands to it in the pack. Couldn't mark. Higgins knocked it out to Castagna. Breaks one tackle. Not the second. Ace has pinged him.
That's been 3 or 4 from Ace.
Yeah.
Collingwood free kick at fullback. Ace on the last line for the Pies. Another player who made the move to Collingwood. And he's going to get to play on the biggest stage. Kicks to half-back. Myercheck playing for Port Melbourne in a grand final last year.
Been pretty good too, just quietly.
Just taking it all in his stride. He's got it at left half-back.
The 25-year-old making his AFL debut in 2018. Pumps it towards the southern wing. No mark can be taken. Going back there is short for the Tigers. He goes short. Big pack up on the logo. Carried them. Prestia let the ball run by. Turned. Gathered. Pumps it towards full forward. Has too much on the kick. And in the right spot once again is Tom Langdon. Mark number 13 for him. He moves it out into the right back pocket where Grundy marks.
He's had a huge night, Grundy. He has been massive.
Grundy beyond defensive 50. Hoskin Elliott won it to ground. Scooped up quickly by Thomas. Hand pass to Hoskin Elliott. Collingwood through the logo. The commentary wing to Pendlebury. Moving it forward again. Nicely worked over the top by Myercheck. Couldn't find Hoskin Elliott. Hooley's back there once more for the Tigers. And he'll steer it out to Nankervis just shy of commentary wing.
Hand pass to McIntosh. Away to short. Confronted by Goldsack. Met heavily, affecting the kick into the middle. Maynard's there. It bounces. He gathers. He chips the ball towards side bottom.
How many's he had now?
He's been huge. His 39th possession. Sellers a short pass to Pendlebury. Pendlebury will play a 21st final in a grand final. He kicks to left half forward and Myercheck. Myercheck 65 from goal. He's going back like he's going to have a shot. Then he chips towards Stevenson in the pocket on the bounce. He can't keep it in. A throw in 35 metres from the Collingwood goal. Crowd numbers dwindling because the result has been Collingwood's for quite some time. And now the Pies fans just wait to celebrate.
39 disposals for Sidebottom. His second best ever in his career. High of 43. Wouldn't put it past him even in this late stage. As Grundy got it back, his Sidebottom again kicked around the corner. While Stone with the defensive mark for Richmond. They'll steer it across the face of goal to Broad. Moves it to short by hand. Goes on a bit of a run and takes a bounce. And another as he heads into the centre square. Puts boot to ball. Needs to find a teammate and couldn't. And this will be Sidebottom's 41st disposal. And he uses it to kick towards Langdon with another mark for him. That's 13 for the game.
Under a minute to go, Sully. You've been in this position. What does it feel like when you know you're going to be playing in a grand final?
Hard to explain, Al. First of all, you just want to get through without getting injured. Any more body contact, that's the last thing you want. But when that siren goes, that 20 minutes is just
Great hit there.
Complete elation.
Do you keep pounding people like Braden Maynard just did?
That's when you're going well, isn't it? They're really enjoying it out there at the moment, obviously.
Bone-crunching tackle on Lambert at right half forward for Richmond. Up it goes. Cox knocked it down. What a match he's had. His parents are here. They've made the trip out towards the boundary line and over. 65 from goal. And Sellers, what are your memories of this experience?
It's a long time ago for me. But let me tell you, you're very exhausted. There's still another game to go if you really want to be involved. And your mind is starting to move towards that and how I'm actually going to get prepared and get ready again.
94,959. Ball thrown back in. Richmond's reign comes to an end. It's all about Collingwood. The Magpies are into the grand final after one of the biggest preliminary final shocks in recent memory. Collingwood by 39 points.
Well, it seemed pie in the sky at the start, but Collingwood smashed down the walls of Richmond's MCG fortress to force their way into a grand final for the first time since 2011. The Tigers looked flat-footed from the start after a 15-day break. Their premiership defence comes to an end, and it had been flawless for much of the season. Collingwood on the wild ride now. The Magpies off to the big dance. The tears on the faces of the Richmond players say it all. And the satisfaction is written across the face of every Magpie. Still, they leap into one another's arms. Nathan Buckley's out there embracing. And this show of faith that Damien Hardwick and the Tigers benefited from the year before. As a banner's unfurled down at the punt road end, it says, "Welcome to the Bucks party." And what a party it looks like being for Collingwood. Nathan Buckley, a new man, we heard at the start of the game from Lyndon Dunn. The person who had grown most at the Collingwood Football Club this season, the coach. And he's out there amongst it, celebrating with his players who have a chance to win a premiership next week. The Richmond players go down towards the punt road end. Their cheer squad has stayed in. They acknowledge them. Who would have thought Richmond's premiership defence was coming to an end tonight? But Collingwood, like Richmond a couple of seasons ago, they finished 13th. Collingwood last year, 13th. Can they emulate the Tigers and go from 13th to a flag? We'll take you into both sets of rooms in the aftermath. We'll be there shortly for the Collingwood song. If I was a Collingwood fan right now, I don't know how I'd be feeling. I mean, the emotion would be so extreme. That's the great heist they've just pulled off.
It is incredible, and it has thrown the premiership race wide open.
Totally.
Everyone thought Richmond, they would have to, pardon the pun, wet the bed. Now, they've done that tonight. Melbourne and West Coast would also be sitting there right now, and their supporters be thinking anything can happen now in 2018.
Mark McClure, you like a Bucks party. What do you reckon?
Oh, I don't really like them that much, but I tell you what, the Pies pinched their game style and absolutely gave them a lesson tonight on how to play. They start quickly. They won every position almost, except for Jack Rewalt's one where he kicked 5. Their midfielders should be proud of themselves. The side bottom, who was outstanding. Adams, unbelievably good. Pendlebury, Varco. Their young fellas, and Phillips, Treloar. All those guys have just been sensational. Ace was unbelievable. It's the best game I've seen Ace play in a Collingwood jumper. Should be very proud of himself. He's locked in the side. Their defence was just great, the way they worked around. Goldsack had to take Jack, but, they had Langdon, Chris, Maynard just unbeaten. Howe was on and off. Varco was brilliant today. Started early and worked all his way through the game. I thought it was a really professional way to go about it. Cox and De Goey up forward with Myercheck, they kicked a hell of a lot of goals, and they were dangerous, and they had good feed, and they moved the ball extremely well. When they were challenged, they responded again in the last quarter. I thought that they were coming, the Tigers, and they responded. They won 3 of the 4 quarters on the scoreboard. Won the first, won the second, lost the third by 2 goals, and then won the last. That's a good sign. That's a strong and powerful side. They've come a long way from 13th. And let me tell you, anyone who's not proud of them should be ashamed of themselves. They've been fantastic. I love the way they play. I love the way they work. And they are having a good time. They're having a ball, Sully, and they'll have a good one next week as well.
Yeah, they certainly will. I was expecting Richmond. I was expecting these jumpers to be wearing these teams to be wearing different jumpers tonight. I was expecting this to be the scoreline, but Richmond to have been in front. I think what Bucks has done with this team, the way he coached tonight, was absolutely fantastic. They came out and absolutely brained Richmond in the first quarter. Their intensity around the ball, their intensity and spread from stoppages into clearance meant they had always outnumbered the Tigers at the drop of the ball. The way that he used Cox, the way that he used Grundy up the ground, their ball movement around the boundary line, the way they entered inside 50, initially they was too shallow, which allowed Richmond to rebound. They had their chances early. Richmond didn't hit the scoreboard. Riewoldt missed a goal early. Once they started getting that ball in deep, in behind the Richmond defence, De Goey has 360 degrees to move in. Cox starts clunking the ball. Grundy has a huge impact. Steele on the wing out wide just afforded so much space all night. You cannot allow somebody like Steele Sidebottom to have that much space. His decision-making with the ball in his hand and his disposal is always to advantage.
Best on the ground 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Sidebottom, outstanding. Mason Cox, the focal point for this football club. Well, who would think that? Seriously, who would think this?
He took 11 marks. He'd never taken more than 8 in a game before, and some of them were outstanding.
No, but he jumped and he ran and he moved their defence around. They actually separated their defence, Sully, and Richmond would pour. They had a great year. I tell you, they had a sensational year, the Tigers, but they couldn't get themselves set. No, they don't. They've got some burning pain in their body right now. They've wasted an opportunity. They worked too hard to give that one away, and they have. They set a standard during the year. Never been beaten on this ground. Well, they got flogged today, I can tell you. And that's over, the run of wins there. They had one winner only, with Jack had kicked 5. So what? That doesn't mean anything now. It means naught. They'll be hurting a bit. They'll be hurting a lot. And they threw one away. And I don't know why. I just have no idea why it happened.
Tyson Goldsack is down on the ground doing a television interview, and what a Cinderella story it is that he'll be playing in a grand final again. The quickest of recoveries we've ever seen, really, from a knee reconstruction to play in the first final. And we had him on grandstand earlier in the season, and such was his desperation to get back and to secure another contract at Collingwood. He said, I would play for nothing to play again for Collingwood if they offered me a contract. And here he is joining his teammates. Listen to the Collingwood Army as the Magpies make their way off the MCG with a week to play in the AFL season. Collingwood wins the preliminary final by 39 points, 15-7, 97 to 8-10, 58. De Goey kicked 4, Cox kicked 3. 2 goals each to Myercheck and Crisp, and singles to Grundy, Treloar, Varco and Stevenson. While for Richmond, as Sellers mentioned, Riewoldt 5, 2 goals to Higgins and 1 to Hooley. So Richmond with only 3 goal kickers. The Pies are on their way into the room, Sellers, and this classic shot. The Premiership Cup is there, and they have a faint little glance at it and then look away as quickly as they can. Not yet, not yet. Maybe next week we'll have a look at that, and we might just be holding it as well. Tim Hodges The elation must be quite something in the Collingwood rooms.
Oh, there are so many people in the room so happy. Lyndon Dunn, we had him in the box earlier. He was so happy before he started crying, and now his head's still underneath his polo shirt, just trying to hide the tears. Eddie Maguire hugging every player as they come through. Nathan Buckley's two boys high-fiving every single player as they come through. Travis Varco, Mason Cox, Scott Pendlebury, the last three to come in. This will be some sort of song. So many happy black and white people down in the Collingwood rooms. And the song is just moments away, guys. That is the sound of happiness, and Nathan Buckley has just grabbed every player and said straight in the room, straight in the room. So I think they're just going to get their composure, and we will have the captain, Scott Pendlebury, with us in a few moments' time, guys.
Sensational. Can't wait to hear from him. Thanks, Hodgie.
Do you think the coach of Richmond will play another injured player in the final? Again. He played 2 today, and I reckon it cost him dearly.
Well, you'd take Martin probably 70% over, the next best option. And he still had 19 disposals.
Yeah, but no impact at all. None.
No impact. 4 inside 50s.
Yeah, but 19 rubbish they were. They're just little handballs here and there. No actual impact on the game. And Asprey was destroyed by Cox. Absolutely destroyed by him. And to me, that is a cardinal sin to take injured players. And a bloke has been in hospital last night. Back him up the next day. Is it his fault? Was he pushed? Did he say I'm okay? I don't know. That's a very interesting question.
Sully, your thoughts?
Both of which are senior players. So you back them in on their judgment. And you live and die by the sword. There's something that those individuals, they're the ones that have to live with it. Don't worry about the club and the side and the opportunity they missed out on. That decision, right or wrong, will haunt them if they're now second-guessing.
And we're seeing Damien Hardwick in the Richmond rooms on the monitor at the moment. He has got the entire team, all of their VFL-level players, all the support staff in an enormous circle around him, and you can just see the anguish, the disappointment, and he is relaying that to the players and all involved with the Richmond Football Club. And I guess you would know better than me, Sully and Sellers, but the sentiment there would be opportunity missed. We really let one slip there.
Prelims are really nasty.
I haven't seen them play like that for 3 years.
Aberration.
It's poor.
Really, really poor. And that's so out of character, which is what hurts the most.
They usually outnumber every contest. They couldn't outnumber one. Collingwood did exactly to them what they've done to everyone else. And so they pinched their game style and they did it better.
Just remind me, Al, how many finals did Richmond play last year? They only play the two.
Well, the two leading into the grand final.
Yeah. Yep. Because I
thrashed Geelong in the qualifying final, then thrashed GWS in the prelim,
and then thrashed
So then,
Adelaide.
in theory, they should know how to deal with that and how to handle that, because they were non-existent in the first quarter. Absolutely not. They were completely outworked. They were out-hunted. They were left for cold.
Their signs weren't good against the Doggies, where they just rolled over the top of them at the MCG and won that game. They haven't been absolutely powerful. I thought their game against Hawthorn, they were okay. Yeah, they were okay. But Hawthorn, how good are they? We're not certain about them. That's the point. The worst three sides in the competition were Sydney, Geelong and Hawthorn, in my opinion. They're the worst three in the top 8.
Yep.
By a mile. And they played one of those and then come into this, and that's a tough game.
So Collingwood by 39 points over Richmond. Now, this vision we're seeing of Damien Hardwick, who is still talking to the entire group of players and support staff inside the Richmond rooms, is actually inside the rooms themselves. It's not sort of privately tucked away in a back room, is it, Sully? This is very much in open view.
Very much in open view. So everybody in the rooms will be able to hear.
Now Brendan Gale's getting up.
What Dimmer just said. Now, Benny
He's wiping
Gale's
tears from his eyes,
now.
Benny Gale. Very different tiers to those that he shed at the MCG.
It just turns so
last
quickly,
season.
It's a hard business.
Yeah.
But it's not a hard business. I mean, they've done a really good job to get into the preliminary final. Best 4 sides in this competition. It's a tough gig.
Is it worth mentioning again the ability to quickly turn around, and all the equalisation processes have been put in place? Now we see a side that finished 13th last year into a grand final, and either the sides that just snuck into the finals or missed out last year.
Let's go down to Scott Pendlebury. The Collingwood captain has joined Tim Hodges.
Scott has been good enough to come straight out of the meeting room, and congratulations firstly. Can we just pry, what was the message? Bucks grabbed you right when you were all carrying on like pork chops after the song and took you straight in.
Yeah, it was just enjoy the moment, what we've been doing all year, and we sang the song with plenty of gusto, and enjoyed that tonight. I thought the boys played a really good brand of football against the side that I think everyone acknowledges has been the best side all year, and but we believe tonight that we had the right plan at the right time of the year to execute, and we did that. And Bucks just mentioned the last quarter there. I thought it was really strong that we held up under that bit of pressure that they come with. We found ways to score, and it's just really proud. And then right at the end, it's back into recovery now, and what we need to do over the next 8 days to get ready for the granny.
Are you pinching yourself right now into another grand final?
I'm just enjoying right now. I was so proud of the way the boys played tonight. Richmond are a fantastic opposition. They challenged us all throughout the night, and you never felt safe, even when the runner had come out with 30 seconds to go. You're still worried against Richmond. They've been so good for so long, and I was really proud of the way our boys took it to them.
So good to have the Collingwood captain, guys. I'll send you upstairs, Scott, to Mark McClure and Brad Sewell.
Pendles, Sully, mate, congratulations. 12 months is a long time in football. At what point during this year did you sort of sit back and realise there's something pretty special happening here in front of us?
There's been moments through pre-season where, I thought if we can get some confidence early in the year and start believing in what we want to do, then, anything's possible. And, the Adelaide win over there, I think it was round 4, was one for me where I think the group found confidence in the way we want to play. We didn't rely on names or anything like that. We're just an even group, and I think we've just built confidence. And I think I said last week, I'm not sure how good this group can be, and stay in the moment, keep trying to improve and keep trying to get better. And, we find ourselves in the grand final, but we know that next Saturday when the ball bounces, we've got to come back to what we can control as the team, and that's playing our style and our brand.
You're one of the old heads in the team now, mate. Momentum in games now seems greater than ever, but more so over periods of weeks and months of football. Can you sort of elaborate on that?
I think for us, coming off where we've come from for the last 4 years, was early in the year we had to find a way to win games of football to generate confidence. You can't just start a year off a pre-season thinking, you're flying. Like, we needed to generate confidence, and, we'll 0-2, and we found a way in round 3 to beat Carlton, grind out that win. Round 4 had a really good win, and we found some confidence there. And, momentum, I suppose, in tonight's game of football, Richmond love that chaos style. They keep the ball alive at all costs, so they generate momentum there. It felt like out there every quarter they had runs, we were able to hold up. I think in the second quarter they didn't kick straight, but, as I said, they're a fantastic side, and, they've had a fantastic year, and they should be proud of what they've done.
Scotty, have you ever seen Steele Sidebottom in better form?
No, he's been a great player for so long, Sidey, but he's elevated. Not in the final series he's elevated, but I think all year he's elevated himself to be one of the best midfielders in the comp. And, the form that he's in right now is a rich vein of form, and we just need him to do it for one more week.
And you've let the cat out of the bag with Mason Cox.
He was fantastic tonight, Coxie.
Brilliant.
Just run and jump, and he's so big, but he's so athletic at the same time. And he was fantastic.
And the plan to actually push him up onto marks for long kicks at goal was actually clever.
Yeah, well, Coxie does that himself, so that's something that he's driven, early in the year. And any long shots, we wanted to make sure we took away Jaden Short, who's such a lethal kick, and then force him to kick over Coxie's hands, being 7 foot, and then puts his arms up. He's probably 10 foot. So, he's pretty clever for an American.
You can win this.
Oh, absolutely. We're in it to win it. So, but we've got, we'll enjoy the week, enjoy the build-up, and, look forward to Saturday.
Clint Wilden here. Just wanted to ask you a question about Jaden Stevenson. Set to play 26 games in his debut season, which is just remarkable. How impressive has he been for you this year?
Yeah, he's the guy that's come in and, in that round 4 win, he kicked 5 and sort of I don't know, just the freedom he plays with, the energy he plays with, it's probably symbolic of our group. You know, he just gets after it. He's not too concerned with the crowd or anything like that. He just plays football. And, all the young guys, they're so infectious, their energy, their enthusiasm, their passion, it's fantastic.
Did you see that? You mentioned about that passion, but going into that first game against West Coast week one of the final series, a lot was made of that Collingwood didn't have a lot of finals experience. Do you see that actually maybe as a bit of a positive, that it does bring such enthusiasm to the group? Yeah,
well, we just all final series, we've just spoke about playing our brand of football, and if we can do that, our game will stack up. As players, we'll play a good brand of football, and I think what you're seeing at the moment, with us and even Richmond tonight, the way they play is you just play your brand of football, and anything's possible. And tonight we're on the right side of the ledger against Richmond, who, as I've said, they're an unbelievable side. And I think to our boys, the way we played, it just reinforces again that everyone needs to bring it next week, and we'll give it a red hot crack.
So you've been to the big dance, so too Tyson Goldsack, still side bottom. We know Travis Varco with Geelong. Do you get the group together at some stage in the coming week and discuss what it's like grand final week, all the other things that are involved with grand final week?
Yeah, we'll go through that at some stage. No doubt tonight when we head back to the club and we jump in, do our recovery, guys will talk about it. I was fortunate that I was a young player when we played in grand finals, so Maxi, Nick Malthouse, Luke Ball, Darren Jolly, Swanee, Didak, guys like that, they were so good to us, just telling us to enjoy the week, embrace it. They're young kids, use the energy, use that enthusiasm, and when we get down to Saturday, that's when we'll lock in, but until then we'll enjoy the week.
Scott, Alistair Nicholson, we had Lyndon Dunn with us in the box before the game, and he spoke about the environment at the club almost being like a country footy club. You were having so much fun together. How would you equate this season with others that you've played in terms of the enjoyment factor?
It's been an unreal ride. I'm someone who loves football, so every year, this year obviously has been a little bit more special, and if we can go on next week and do what I think we can do as a group, it's going to be the ultimate. But I loved every year's a journey, and you learn so much about guys you're with and what you're playing with. And this year we're just living in the moment. We're enjoying the journey. The young guys drive that enthusiasm. They keep the older guys young because they're so immature. But it's been a lot of fun.
And do you get the guys together tomorrow to watch the other prelim, or do you watch it individually?
No, I think tomorrow night guys just do what they need to do, and go away, get with your family, get with your friends, just do what you usually do. If you watch the footy, watch it. I don't know if everyone will watch the game. I assume they will, and just stick to what we've done all year.
Congratulations. Great win tonight. Extraordinary stuff, and all the best for next week, Scott.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Scott Pendlebury, the Collingwood captain. Terrific to hear from him in the aftermath of the Magpies' 39-point win over Richmond. The Tigers' premiership defence coming to an end, and so that 22-game winning streak at the MCG ends with it. 15-7-97 Collingwood, Richmond 8-10-58.
Talk about ending streaks. Collingwood hadn't beaten Richmond in a final since 1937. That was a semi-final back in 37. They'd lost the previous 8 finals that they had played against the Richmond Football Club. So it's going back into the murky depths of history.
So Collingwood and West Coast have never played in a grand final. And a grand final between Collingwood and Melbourne, you would have to go back to 1964, which was Melbourne's last premiership, and Ron Barassi's last game for Melbourne before his shock defection to Carlton cellar. So it's been an awfully long time for those two teams in a grand final, and Melbourne, they've got a big challenge ahead tomorrow in Perth against West Coast. And of course, you'll hear that match live and commercial free on Grandstand AFL. So how good a case can you mount for Collingwood that they could actually now go on and win the premiership from here?
Huge case. Just going through sort of some of their numbers, Will Hoskin-Elliott didn't have much of an impact at all tonight. He had 11 disposals, didn't hit the scoreboard. Howe was okay, but he was a little bit sore late. Stevenson only kicked the 1 goal, was 14, was thereabouts. Treloar had a quiet night at only 19 disposals. They've still got a bit of room. They've still got a bit of upside, the Pies.
They got some growth, yeah.
And the energy and the momentum and what Bucks and Pendles has just spoken about, means that I wouldn't at all be surprised if they don't go in favourite.
Yeah, they want to be better because I don't think Richmond were very good at all, to tell you the truth. They couldn't get their hands on the ball. They couldn't get the numbers around the ball that they usually at the contest. They could not work for each other. They couldn't get their defence together. They couldn't do a lot of things. They lost all their control of the game, and the opposition won't be like that. I can assure you the opposition will not be like that. It'll be a real contest next week, and the Pies will have their work cut out, but gee whiz, they've certainly earned their spot, and they've got a real chance.
Do they have a preferred opponent next week? I mean, naturally you'd lean towards West Coast, given they'd have to travel here to play at the MCG, but do you think Collingwood matches up better against Melbourne or West Coast?
That's a good question, Al. I would suggest that West Coast would be their preferred option because of West Coast's record here at the G. That's the easy answer.
Beat them here this year.
Round 17. Yeah. Lot made of that on the other side of the nation this year.
And I feel like Melbourne are very similar to Collingwood in that they've got this momentum, they've got this groundswell, they've got this young internal belief, and they're enjoying their footy, and they're brazen, they're brash, and they're young. They've got a good story to tell.
It's actually interesting trying to pick who you're playing against. I wouldn't even bother. I don't think you think about it. You don't even talk about it. You don't think about it. Whoever comes, and we play our style. And if we're good enough, we get the cash. And if we're not, you dip your lid to them. That's the way it works. And they're in a good space, though. Well, hopefully, haven't got too many injuries. Degoe up okay? Is he all right? Is he right? I don't know.
And how?
How? There's two of their major
There'll be talking points
assets
this week, for sure. You say they're in a good place. Sellers, I'm not so sure Tim Hodges is in the greatest place at the moment.
Where is he now?
He's made his way to the Richmond room. Sellers, let's take you in there.
Okay, let's go home.
It's actually not as doom and gloom as you might imagine, guys. There's a lot of family and friends, after the success they've had in the past 2 years. I don't think there's the devastation perhaps I was expecting. I do want to tell you about a great story. Damien Hardwick, I just bumped into him coming out of the Collingwood rooms. How's the class of Hardwick? He went into a rooms that was... I mean, you guys know what a winning rooms in a prelim final is like. And he walked in to try and find Nathan Buckley, and finding the winning coach is a hard thing in the winning rooms. He found him, shook his hand, and then I actually just watched him, and he went to find Travis Varco to shake his hand and give him a hug after what he's been through this month. It just shows unbelievable class from Damien Hardwick, I thought. So he's about to face the media very soon at his press conference. I will try in the next minute or so to see if one of the Tiger players will speak to us. I'm not sure our chances, but I'll give it a crack.
Good on you, Hodgie. Oh, that is full of class, and to have the presence of mind and just that thought to park the disappointment for a moment and leave your group to go and see the other.
Yeah, I mean, that's
brilliant.
That's the shift we've seen in the game, I think, in recent years. That real human element, I think, Sellers.
Oh, I think there's no doubt about that. I mean, they're all out there for battle, but it's not life and death. It's for your team, and after it is just a bit of humility. It doesn't hurt anybody, and I love that, because that's a really good showing of humility. That okay, we got beat, but you know what? I can still be a nice person and look after somebody else as well. So for mine, Damien Hardwick gets a big tick, and he's been terrific.
Full time here in the preliminary final, the first of the two prelims. Collingwood by 39 points, 15-7-97 to 8-10-58. 94,959 created quite the atmosphere here at the MCG. And coming up tomorrow afternoon for you on Grandstand AFL, it is Melbourne taking on West Coast. The coach of Collingwood, Nathan Buckley, well, they presented the banner saying Bucks Party in the aftermath. He's doing a press conference at the moment, but Tim Hodges has done superb work, and terrific of Jack Rewalt to join us down in the Richmond rooms.
Well, it shows the class of Jack as well. Jack, I was just telling a story. Damien went into the Collingwood rooms to find Nathan Buckley and then tracked down Travis Varco to give him a hug after what he's been through in the past month. Puts everything in perspective. Can we just ask about your night? It was a dirty one for this footy club, unfortunately, after 2 fabulous years.
Yeah, it was, Hodgie. And look, it's unfortunate, and we didn't play the way we wanted to play. Credit to Collingwood, they brought a ferocity that we probably brought to the finals last year, and they're really riding a wave of momentum. And I thought they certainly outplayed us in every facet of the game.
Personally, you tried your absolute guts out to get the team back into the contest. You're willing them time and time again. You just couldn't inspire what you were trying to get them in that second half?
Yeah, it's really hard to, I suppose, arrest momentum, and for us, we probably needed to put 2 and 3 together, and we'd get a couple, and then so we sort of started charging in that last quarter, and Treloar kicked that left foot torpedo that went through the goal. So we just unfortunately we didn't take our chances. We were beaten convincingly all over the ground, and we haven't really had a performance like that for a long time. I'd probably think back to maybe the Adelaide game early last year where we played pretty poorly like that, and unfortunately when you play a system-based footy, sometimes it just breaks down and craps itself, and it did tonight, and was really disappointing because it was a big stage for us in front of a big crowd. But credit to Collingwood and the way they played. They played a sensational brand of footy that suits finals, and they're going to be very tough to beat next week.
Jack's a ripper. He has been all year, guys, with us on ABC Grandstand. I'll throw you upstairs to a couple of 360 boys. Brad Sewell and Mark McClure are up there.
Hey, Jack, I was very surprised that Asprey played after being in hospital last night. That was unusual.
I don't know whether he was in hospital last night, Sellers, but I think he was crook. But I mean, he's been a pivotal part of us, and
he has.
I don't think you can put it down to sickness for the way that we all performed tonight. Unfortunately, our backs sort of cop it sometimes when we don't have that pressure up the ground. They're a great unit down there, but they certainly came under heavy fire tonight, and unfortunately that wave of momentum sort of overcame them in the end. So certainly there's no outs for us.
No, there's no out at all. We couldn't get the numbers around the ball. You're usually very strong with getting your numbers around the contest, and you just could not get anyone to the contest.
Yeah, look, it's obviously something that was disappointing for us, and Collingwood. The Collingwood midfield is a really talented midfield, but they're also a very hard-working midfield too. So they seem to be a bit more proactive than us, and it's really hard to arrest the momentum in a game when you are under the pump, and they really had us under the pump, and unfortunately we couldn't turn the tide as much as we would have liked. We had little moments. I thought sort of just before half-time we started to get the game played the way we wanted to play, but unfortunately we were too far back.
What a demonstrator.
Look, it's we're bitterly disappointed not to be to heading on to the biggest day in September. But if you look at our sort of 24 months as a whole, we've had a lot of wins, and I mean we've strung a lot of wins together here at the MCG, but unfortunately the outer world will look at the one performance today and probably mark our season as a disappointment. But I mean we've gone 19 and 5, I think, so we've always spoken about the journey. Now you're never going to win them all, and unfortunately we lost this one today, but our journey's taught us a lot of lessons, and it will continue to teach us lessons going forward. We know we need to improve and get better as a club, and we'll look to add players and improve players over the summer and get into season 2019.
What do you put the slow start down to, Jack?
Well, it's certainly not down to the bye. I think that's just football jargon that comes out at this time of year. They just jumped us. Yep. They unfortunately kicked a few early and sort of got the momentum going their way. And as I said before, momentum is the key in finals, and it's really hard to arrest. And unfortunately, we missed a few shots. I mean, I missed one early, and we just didn't take our chances. I think at half time we'd maybe only had sort of 3 or 4 less scoring shots, so we were sort of in the game. And at quarter time we'd had more inside 50s. We just didn't take our opportunities. So you learn from this. But I suppose the captain said post the game, your greatest growth is from your darkest moments. So I mean, our group's really hurting, and our club's really hurting, because we're a really proud football club. We're a proud membership group of over 100,000 and a proud staff, and you can see on the faces down here that it doesn't just affect the players, it affects the families and it affects the staff. But we know we can move on to bigger and better things, and just continue to give ourselves a chance at getting there to that last day in September, because we've tasted it and we know how good it is to get there and to win it, and certainly it's the thing that spurs us on.
Jack, hard luck tonight, and on behalf of the ABC, many thanks to your many contributions across the season. I hope you get some good downtime now.
Yeah, thanks guys. I'm actually I'm a doubtful one for round one. I think I might be judging between round one Sellers and the Blues and fatherhood. So.
Oh really?
Yeah,
awesome. Congratulations.
As a little news.
Oh, done.
Brilliant.
So.
I've been trying to get you to break that on AFL 360, and then you do it at 2 minutes to 11.
Where do your allegiances lie, Hodgie? Hey?
It was an interesting week at 360 because we've got Jordan and myself, obviously, and Hodgie's a massive Collingwood supporter.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
Can I ask,
Hey, well
will you
done,
watch
mate.
your mate Jordan tomorrow?
100% I will. I'll be cheering for him. He's a great fella and a really good mate. So I wish him all the best. He sent me a text today, and look, I mean, it'd be great for Melbourne and AFL if we can get. I suppose if Melbourne play Collingwood, it'd be a riveting crowd here next week.
And you know, Jack, you're having a father-son or a father-daughter at this point?
Absolutely no idea.
Hey, Jack, let's hope it comes on the 27th of March.
It's due on the 26th.
You're a chance, fellas.
You're a great man. Thank you
Well
very
done,
much,
mate.
Jack.
Thanks, guys.
All the
Appreciate
best,
it.
mate. Jack Rewalt. There
Fair
you
scoop.
go.
Scoop.
Most of those interviews are sort of downcast. You don't get too much. And not only did we get plenty on the football front from Jack Rewalt, we also got a pregnancy announcement. So, wow, there you go. It has been quite the night
The
at
26th
the MCG.
of March, eh?
There you go. You heard it first on ABC Grandstand.
He had to kick 5 goals to announce it, did he?
What a night at the football it was. Truly extraordinary the way the Magpies got out of the blocks and set up their victory against Richmond. 5 goals to 1 in the opening term, a 23-point lead, 44 at the half, 33 at three-quarter time, and Collingwood wins by 39 points through to their first grand final since 2011. Join us tomorrow for Grandstand and the build-up towards the second prelim in Perth. Melbourne taking on West Coast for the right to play Collingwood in the 2018 decider. Thanks for your company on Grandstand AFL. We'll chat from Perth tomorrow.